What's going on, everyone? It's Nina Infinity. Welcome to my channel. On this Sunday night, we're going to be reviewing season 1 and 2 of the Orville, and season 3 we'll be doing next week. But I figured some of the people on the panel hadn't actually watched the first 2 seasons, so we were like, let's do the first 2 seasons first, and then we'll catch up and we'll do 3 after. But before we get into it and before we get into the introductions, I just want to take a moment and speak on the fact that we lost a true legend today, a Star Trek legend, Nichelle Nichols. And it's kind of really sad. I wore my little Star Trek pin that I got at the Star Trek experience in Las Vegas many, many years ago. And I figured I'd do that in her honor today. The Orville is a show that has been very much influenced by Star Trek. There have been so many things that are influenced by Star Trek, and Nichelle Nichols is a huge part of that. And rest in peace. That's all I can really say. I mean, she's in a better place now. I'm sure of it.
Definitely.
But if you want to say something, Jane, would you like to say something about Nichelle Nichols and her?
Yeah, I mean, she was an amazing and multi-talented actress who, in the role of Uhura, but just even in her life, was an inspiration to so many people. She's definitely going to be missed. Yeah, it's a sad day, but also a happy day because I know she's in a better place.
Definitely. Script Doctor, did you want to say something about Nichelle Nichols before we start?
Other than the fact that she was like incredibly talented actress, there was a point after Star Trek where she did a live one-woman show honoring Eartha Kitt, where she performed as Eartha Kitt, and it was uncanny. And she had a lot of fun doing that. And she was also a wonderful ambassador to NASA before they all went to hell, which has come from like government cuts and basically better opportunities at other companies for the scientists that work there. But yeah, she was a wonderful, delightful person. I'm sad of her loss, but she's definitely in a better place now, and you know, all of her faculties will be in the beyond, and she'll never be forgotten for her impact in pulp culture, but also for the impact that she did when she touched all the fans and people that enjoyed her performances and her talks.
Absolutely. Very well said. Scott, did you want to say something before we start?
Yeah. I wasn't the biggest Trekkie going, when I was young, it was already off the air and everything. But I always saw reruns, and she was one of the reasons why at a very young age, I knew I liked the ladies. But then later on in life, I found out she was thinking, is this a good role for me? Should I keep doing this? And like Martin Luther King, like when they met, she was talking to him like, is this really helping the movement? And he like literally told her, yes, you need to stay on this show. Like this is a big help. Show like how your crew is and what position you have. Like this is very important for the movement. She was very active in the civil rights, and so was. We also lost Bill Russell today, basketball legend up in my neck of the woods. He is like revered as a god of basketball. So
he is the Secretary of Defense, man.
Yes, yep, and he was the first. I want to say maybe not the first black athlete in Boston like sports, but he was the first head coach / player. First all 5 players on a team. I mean, he broke a lot of things. So I have to shout out his respect, but she was beautiful. Seemed like a beautiful human, and she was so hot.
That Mirror episode was
gorgeous.
Yeah.
She was absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it's so sad that she's gone, but at the same time, like Jane was saying, it's also she was older, and it's
89, I think.
Yeah,
she lived a good long life for sure.
Oh, yeah.
She did, and she'll never be forgotten, like you said, Script Doctor. I just want to say that this is the legendary Nichelle Nichols. Her family announced something. Her son Kyle announced the news of her passing, and that and it was it's just kind of hit me a little hard, but that's life.
Tina, Jesus, Nina. People need to realize that like she really was a trailblazer. She was. It was a huge thing for her to be that high up on like a show. Like she wasn't just like a background character. She was part of the ensemble cast and a big part of it in my view.
Definitely. And this was the Sun's statement today. And this is, I just wanted, since we talked about Bill Russell, I just want to share an awesome picture of Bill with another legend, Shaquille O'Neal. Because
I
I
remember
love
those.
Shaq. So here's another one right here. Absolute legend. So rest in peace to both those people. And you will be missed. But on with the show.
Yeah.
This is the Orville review, season 1 and 2. I had a lot of fun watching this and rewatching it because I had forgotten a lot of it, actually. I was like, wait a minute, I totally forgot about this. So it was a fun rewatch as well. And but before we start, did you guys want to introduce yourselves? Because we kind of didn't really get to do that. Scott, tell everyone where they can find you.
Yeah, thank you. Scott from Sporky News Podcast here on the YouTube. Thank you to all the new subscribers from last night. We had a fun show last night. You can also find me on Twitter. That's pretty much where I do everything, but I think I have Instagram and then Rumble and all those good things. Thank you.
And the links of everyone is in the description. Script Doctor, tell everyone where they can find you.
The easiest place to find me is on Twitter, and then bouncing around YouTube here and there. This channel on Sundays when schedule works out, which is looking to be better and better every day goes by. And I do have a YouTube channel where you can take a look at some evergreen videos where I do reviews and analyses of story on film and television. So yeah, feel free to check that out. You just type in Script Doctor on Twitter or YouTube, and I'm the first one up.
There you go. It's also in the description.
It's in the description.
No. Bill Russell passed away, not Shaquille. If Shaquille O'Neal had died today as well, I don't even think I would be doing a stream because I freaking absolutely love Shaq. Like, it would be like devastating for me to hear if he passed away. Like,
can I also say something real quick? Bonzo, we love having everybody in the chat, but this is definitely spoilers. This is spoilers, man. We're doing season 1 and 2, so we apologize, but it's definitely pure spoilers verse.
Spoiler alert. This is definitely a spoiler full review. We're going to get into the nitty gritty, the details, what we liked, what we didn't like, all the stuff. And next week, we will be reviewing season 3, and that will also be a spoiler full review because I have things to say, especially about the first episode. So, Jane, please tell everyone where they can find you.
You can find me on YouTube where I post movie and television reviews and occasionally some pop culture commentary. You can also find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at Jane Theory.
Thank you for keeping it classy there,
Thank
Jane.
You, Script.
And thank you, Script Doctor, for also doing that.
I just don't get the association on Scott's channel for that.
I love it.
Stuff.
What's
going on?
Okay, can I just say this one more time? I was in my head, dump meant news dump. It was a news dump. Hey, kid, let's have a dump on the news. And now it's all about shit.
Everybody knows what you meant. And
it's all about shit now.
It was what Amber Turd did on Johnny's head. That's what
could have
happened.
been the cutlery drawer or something.
I shit in my silverware.
Oh, my God. Okay. So season 1 of the Orville.
Yes.
What did everybody think of season 1? Jane, what'd you think?
No, I thought it was a good start. I liked it. It wasn't what a lot of people I think sort of framed it as. Is like the new Star Trek or whatever. It's similar. It has a lot of, clearly it's influenced by it, but it's very much its own thing. I like the characters. I like the stories. It was fun. It was a fun watch.
Excellent. And let me ask you before we kind of like get into everything, who is your favorite character so far? Well, in season 1. In season 1.
Just season 1. My favorite character. I hate to say Mercer, but probably. Yeah, I would have to.
Really?
Yeah.
I am shocked. I thought for sure you were going to say the robot guy. For sure. Like, I was like,
you would think.
Isaac. I like Isaac.
Isaac. Yeah,
But
I thought you were going to say Isaac.
So weird over. Like, they humanized him a lot, and it just I don't know that weird.
They
I'm not a
humanized
big
him.
fan of him.
Not him. He wasn't humanized. They humanized him.
They humanized him, right? But he was, I don't know.
I know what you mean.
It.
Yeah.
There are things I just didn't quite like that.
Oh, that's interesting. Jane's surprising me a little bit right now. What about you, Sporking News Podcast featuring the dump as
Thank
the
you.
show?
We take dumps. And Jane's on the, if you want to see Jane taking a dump, come on Saturday nights.
Wow. Oh my God.
She's there. Get your mind out of the gutter, or the toilet at least. No, I got to say, I tried watching season 1 a few years back. And if it wasn't for people like Script and PJ from Orville Nation.
Yeah, shout out to PJ.
Yep, he's the king of the Orville. And actually Seth Macfarlane, even though I don't like, this is what I love about the man. He is so left and I am not so left, but he leaves that, he tries as much as possible to keep it in center. And I know people think season 3 is not like that, but I could completely disagree with you when we get there.
I can't wait for that next week.
I really do. I see it in a completely different way than other people, but he retweets my stuff if I put something out there about the Orville. He's done it multiple times. Like, yes, it's probably some, freaking assistant doing it, but maybe it isn't. I enjoyed the comedy. It was to me, it was kind of like definitely McFarlane comedy, but as the season went on and really at the very end and into the later seasons, it changed to something that's I believe, completely different. Was it a straight up like Naked Gun or Airplane? No, but it did poke fun at this type of show. But then it found its own, legs out there, and it really I've fallen in love with the crew. I love watching it.
Same here.
And I love Gordon. I love Gordon.
You love Gordon? Is that your favorite character?
Yes, I love. Season 1. Actually season 3 too. I love Gordon.
You know what's weird is Gordon reminds me of you. I feel like that's your archetype.
Okay.
Like the silly.
Go Gingers.
Like super silly but awesome guy that cares about his friends and is really loyal to his friends, like that kind of guy. And somebody who he's a really great pilot, but he has other ambitions, but then he comes to realize that he's truly great at being a pilot. And I think that I don't know, those kind of things kind of remind me of you. And he's got that look too. He's got that
dad bod. Thanks. I take that as a compliment. I really do. I do, because I think he's the most
good, because it was meant to be a compliment.
I do take it as a compliment. I feel like he's the most authentic character. Like, he's himself. And that's what I like about him.
Yeah, very much.
I think that's what the crew likes about him.
Yeah. And he's a good singer.
He's oh my gosh, yes, he's a great singer. There's some great singers on the show.
That actor is Scott in American Dad, the teenager.
Is he? I've never seen that show. So
I didn't realize that. Oh my God, that's cool.
Yeah.
Wait, who hasn't gone yet? Script, did you go?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Script, tell me what you thought about season 1 and your favorite character.
Season 1 I thought was quite deftly done, because one of the things that was interesting, it was on the old 20th Century Fox network. And Fox never had success in that time slot with hour-long dramas, especially on the sci-fi things. Firefly is a very, very famous one. They didn't even air that in the proper order. But what Seth MacFarlane kind of did is he pitched this as a science fiction comedy, and that was a lie. He wanted to tell a science fiction show, but he wanted to have some comedy in it. And the story is that the way he kind of described it is the jokes that were in Star Trek 2, 3, and 4, we want to kind of have those types of jokes be the foundation of the Orville. And then what he's been doing over the course of these 3 seasons is just kind of pushing that a little bit away, still having the comedy here and there when it's appropriate, but making that more of the spice of the show as opposed to the main course.
Right.
Yeah.
And what I really enjoyed about the show is that the first 2 seasons were done with a very, very tiny budget, and you can tell.
Yeah.
You can tell from the shoulder pads where the ranks are; they're falling off of the shoulders.
Yeah, you can tell that. That was funny.
They also, the first season was also originally I think 14 or 15 episodes, and they ended up taking the last 3 and making that the start of season 2. And we'll get to that a little bit later, but there is a clear distinction between them, and I'll point that out when we get to season 2. But I dug the show. I dug the relationship aspects because it harkens back to some history with regards to Star Trek. So the first captain of the Enterprise was Robert April, and the chief medical officer was his wife. So he had a captain serving with his wife aboard a starship that he's also a commanding officer of. And many people who are married realize that, you know, when the husband's the commanding officer in a relationship, that's not really going to work too well. But what they did here is they did something a little bit different. They made the ex-wife the first officer, and then we have them trying to. You're hoping to a degree that they'd be butting heads all the time throughout the season. They kind of reconciled that at the end of the first episode, and now it's just these two are very, very good friends. They know each other very well, and they're trying to bring out the best in each other. And I liked the little hanging sort of Chad aspect at the end of the first episode when you find out that Kelly, the first officer, is the reason why Ed got the command.
Right.
Yeah, I
And
really like that too.
It's implying that she was probably offered the command first, and she argued for it to go to him.
I
because
think
of
so.
what she did. And I like that dynamic. I think the relationship, it's really leaning into the season 3, 4, 5 of Star Trek Next Generation with the relationship dynamics. As for my favorite character, it's kind of a draw between Lamar and Bortus. And the reason I say that is Lamar is
Bortus.
basically an apology to LeVar Burton for Joy LaForge never getting any action in
Oh.
Star Trek, because
That's
this guy
brilliant.
he's a Rudolph Valentino, like he's just Casanova.
Yep.
And then I like Bortus because he's incredibly masculine in all the positive ways, and you figure that out as the season progresses because he comes from a very male-dominated patriarchal
Rob Lowe.
society, and you realize, oh, there's a distinction. There's legitimately a distinction between a masculine person and, you know, a patriarchal, you know, insecure
Douche.
yeah.
Yeah.
essentially. And then there's Rob Lowe, of course.
Yeah,
Well, I
Rob
think
Lowe.
that- and especially because I really I can relate to what you're saying, Script, because I think even though Bortus is not technically my favorite character, I think that his episodes are extremely like relevant with what is going on today. Like I think that was the second episode, was the Bortus episode where his daughter has to get the sex exchange. And I thought that was incredibly
Powerful?
a tough topic. Yeah, it was a tough topic to make an episode about and not be canceled like immediately. And I think that was a feat, the way that they achieved that. And I thought it was an incredible episode. I think that it was very powerful, Scott.
Yep.
You're right. And this scene here, by the way, Rob Lowe, I love Rob Lowe. I think he's freaking hilarious. And I've been watching rewatching Parks and Rec as I've been watching this. It was
Great
just
show.
so funny to see him like in this role. And
Yep.
I love the episode that he makes a comeback. We'll get
I
there.
hated that episode.
Oh, you did?
Oh, I
my
loved it.
God,
It
I
was
loved
so
it.
weird.
It was so
It was so
freaky
weird.
deaky, and that's the best part about
Oh
it.
my God.
I loved it. It was
I
so
just
funny
like,
to
oh
me.
my
I mean,
Yeah.
this blue alien here comes from a very controversial type of culture.
hmm
For a lot of reasons, and I think we should save that for a little bit later. 'cause
Yes.
that comes later in this season. So.
And it's
Okay.
kind of it's messed up, man, if you think about it.
It is. It
Um,
Okay, take a note because I want to come back to that.
Yes, we
But
have
make
to.
Make sure we come back to that.
Let's
Ian
get in that.
Sofor, real quick for 15. Thank you so
Oh.
much. Says controversial opinion. First season really irritated me. It wasn't certain of what it wanted to be, like a dog finding a steak on the floor and constantly looking around it as it tries to take a bite.
That's a lot of great shows,
understand-
though.
I understand what you're saying. But at the same time, like I actually agree with you, Ian, because I didn't think that they knew what they wanted to do either. Like this is why it was a little confusing to me, because I've heard different rumors when it comes to Orville season 1. Because Script, you went a little bit into like why,
Yeah.
like how he pitched the show and everything like that.
Yep.
But I remember there was like some other drama with it, because I remember at the time they were like he was in a battle to actually make a Star Trek series. Like he's wanted to make a Star
Yes,
Trek series
previous
for
to
a
this.
very
CBS,
long
yeah.
time. Yeah, he pitched it.
He was even on an episode of Enterprise or two.
Right. And then he pitched it and then they rejected him. And then he was like, well, what can I do? I still want to make a series like this, but I can't make it Star Trek. So let me make my own. And then he did it. But then from what I understand, he like pitched the Orville to some, like, I think it was ABC or something that was affiliated with Disney. I don't remember what happened, but then there was this whole backlash with him, and he got into a huge fight with Disney because they wanted to cancel Family Guy or something from Fox, and they had acquired Fox by then. And so then he was like, I'm never dealing with Disney again. Like, I remember when he was mad about Disney.
Well, ABC, I think, no, it's a little bit off on the dates because the Orville debuted before Fox was sold to Disney.
Okay.
But there was definitely something going on. I remember stories with him and Disney getting into a rights issue because I think Seth parodied something in Family Guy and Disney tried to seek legal action. I can't remember if that's
Something
exactly
like
it or
that.
he parodied something from Disney and Disney tried to seek legal action.
Right. And then because
yeah.
I remember, like, after that happened, like I remember him like saying, like, I swear I'm never dealing with Disney like ever again. And so when he announced that he's going on Hulu and that season 3 is going to be on Disney Plus, like that they're putting all the series on Disney Plus and stuff, I was like, oh boy, like how much money did they offer this dude for him to kind of sell out? Because he was like, I'm never dealing with Disney again, and like all this stuff.
Well, the people that caused him that grief don't work at Disney anymore.
So he's just like, that's whatever, that's the company, so whoever is dealing with me is different. So I mean, that kind of makes sense.
And the other part too is that Orville's continuation is still up in the air. We don't know if there's going to be a 4th season or not. Seth doesn't know, so he has to promote the heck out of it if he wants to keep making this show. And you can tell by the fact that of all the actors, he's kind of the weakest one in there. You can tell he's there more for the fun of doing the show as opposed to, you know, it being just a job. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. I was like, one of the things I hear about season 1, by the way, thanks again for the super chat, Ian. One of the things I do hear about season 1 often is that a lot of people kind of talk about how he cast himself as the captain. And a lot of people think that he wasn't a strong enough actor to cast himself as the main lead of the series. Do you guys agree with that, or do you think he did a good job as Mercer?
I'm sorry, I jumped right into that one, but I say he's not the strongest actor. But when you have that FU money and you're the one producing all this stuff that people are loving, I think he had a dream and he got to fulfill that dream. And I say, good for him, man.
It's a bit of a, like, but
it would be the same.
It is a literal self-insert though, and a lot of times people have a problem with that.
But there is a difference, and that is he's not, his character throughout the entirety of the series is not the focus of the show.
Right.
Exactly.
And he has his great moments, but you're absolutely right. The show revolves around the rest of the crew.
But also, he's not this sort of Casanova type character.
Nope.
He's someone who, I feel almost is like an audience insert because of some of the things that he often says.
Really good point.
You know, he has a lot of emotional baggage that he's dealing with. He doesn't necessarily feel entirely prepared for the position and the things that he's facing, even though he is equally qualified to his ex-wife to do the job, but he knows that's creating some turmoil there. He still has feelings for her, but then, you know, the stress of that, he's now has this crew that he has to deal with. He's a fish out of water in many ways. To me, he's one of the most relatable characters on the show and one of the most realistic. And I like that. I don't think I would enjoy it as much if he were more polished.
That's a great point. What about you, Script?
No, I think one of the things that makes this show a little bit better is in regards to other comparisons like current Star Trek is that the captain's not the main character. In fact, you'd be hard pressed to try and find who is a main character in the Orville because they do a great job kind of balancing it out. There are some times where I'm like, oh, this is a Claire episode. That's going to be awesome because, you know, Claire's a very understanding, head above the water type of character, which I also really like.
With straight connections to Star Trek, of course. That's always a bonus.
They've got a straight connections to the traditional aspect of Star Trek, but with Ed, he's just this very passionate type of hardworking guy that can make mistakes and flaws, and but he's led by his conscience more so than
Mm-hmm.
the more
Mm-hmm.
by the book type of stuff, and not in positioned in the Maverick the way that some people think Kirk is, because he's also
Yes.
not. But the story is about the people on the Orville.
Mhm.
And one of the other things I like that we kind of skipped over a little bit is that the design of the ship of the Orville is essentially a three-tailed sperm.
Yeah.
It's
I thought
really-
it was squid looking, but my
I would have went with
God,
that
Script
too.
Doctor,
Yeah,
Jesus.
script. That's
Well, the reason I say that is there was a show that was produced in Canada like 20 years ago
You
called
Canadians.
Alienated. And it's about this family that's got like a documentary crew around them, and they've been abducted by aliens.
Mhm.
And they're trying to like prove it. And one of the weirdest things that they have is that all the men that have been abducted and experimented on, when they're intimate with their partners, at the end of it, everything glows
Mhm.
orange. And when a doctor takes a look at it, that's where you see a sperm with the three tails, and you just can't not forget that type of image because it's just so bizarre. And then
That's
you see
so
the
funny.
Orville, which draws from so many other science fiction stories.
It does.
And you're just wondering, like, oh my god, did they probably see that and think that make a good looking spaceship?
That's
Um,
hilarious. I never really thought of it like that. But I will say this. I always, whenever I hear Mercer talk or whenever I see him or whatever, I'm always thinking of Brian from Family Guy. I'm like, it's basically Brian from
It
Family
is.
Guy is like the captain of the show to me.
that was one of the hard things for me to get over at first, was because that voice is just Brian.
Yeah.
But I have to say, like, again, going back to him, like, he does the good parts where, like, he is the one who, like, where you think someone, like, breaks the rules, he's going to be like, forget about, I just try to do, like, an Irish guy. But, like, just forget about it, let's sweep it under the table. He holds them to the union rules. And, like, he does a good job. He's not, like, a strong, dramatic actor, but it's us doing it. Like, I think that was a really good way of putting it. I feel like it could be any one of us just having a job as okay, I made it this far as a, captain of a ship.
By the way, I would like to, yes, this is what I meant, by the way, script. I meant she's Cassidy Yates in the S9, the doctor. And I love that about it.
Well, she was a captain of a private ship in Deep Space Nine, and then she's this
Yeah,
level-headed doctor.
She became
in Orville.
Cisco's wife, and I thought that was really cool. I just love all the Star Trek people in this because there's quite a few, and they show up as guest stars. But one of the things in episode 1 that I really, really liked, and it was a major Star Trek thing, was the whole flight around the Orville with the pilot. I forget his name already. I'm so bad. Gordon, yeah.
Yeah.
When he gets Gordon's just like flying them around, and they're looking at the ship from the outside and everything like that, and how majestic it is, and like the music and everything. It was just that was a definite tribute to Star Trek, and I really, really like that. And then my favorite character, I have a few, but first of all, I really love Yaphet. I know that sounds fucked up, but I love Yaphet, and I'm so sad that that Norm Macdonald's is gone, and it's gonna be sad for me in season 3 to not see Yaphet the way he was and everything. But I love the Kalon dude. I love Isaac. I think
Isaac's great.
That's a great
Really?
character. Yeah, I think he's one of the greatest characters they've got.
Very
and
subtle.
In season 1 too, I really, really liked the other chick, their security officer.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
Halston
thought she was-
Sage.
Yes, I thought
Yeah,
she was
that was
super
Seth's girlfriend
cute
at the time.
Was she
it?
really? Is that why she's off the? Is that why
Is that
she's
why
off the
she
show?
left?
Alara?
Kind of. Well, they broke up, but it was an amicable breakup, and she asked to be written off the show gently, and Seth said, "Yeah, sure."
See,
Yeah,
hate
I
that sort of thing.
remember. Sorry, Jane, what was that?
No, I was just saying I hate that sort of thing. Like,
Yeah.
Well, who
She
do you
was
think
a fan
Charlie is in
favorite.
season 3? Charlie's totally Seth's girlfriend.
Are you serious?
Are you
Yes.
serious?
I am now. I'm getting this more and more. I understand now.
Oh
Let's
my
no
God.
Well,
spoilers,
he has
but
a type: tiny blonde girls.
Yeah.
No wonder I freaking hate her though, because I never mind. I can't get into this
dated-
right now.
But yes, season 1.
God, I freaking hate her.
The Chilean, the security
I'm trying to find a
officer,
picture of her.
who in the
There she
pilot
is.
has no eyebrows, and then they glue on eyebrows for her for the rest.
Yeah,
of the
Lara Kitten or Katan?
Lara
Kitten?
Katan or
Katan, yeah.
Yeah.
and that's from Star Wars. Her name, Kala Katarn, is really
Oh,
very
gotcha.
similar.
I
But,
heard she pulled like a Wesley on them where she was like, or a Tasha Yar where she was like, I'm gonna go and focus on my movie career because I think I can do better. And then,
Yeah,
like,
it's-
they like
well,
wrote
yeah,
her
she
there's
off.
so
did
many
get
different
cast as Dazzler in the X-Men film, but most of her part was cut.
Ooh, that
And
must
Ooh,
suck.
that was without her knowledge. That was just what was ever going on at that point. But no, I mean, one of the things that the Orville does for the first 2 seasons is it does follow a lot of the beat structure of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Hmm.
So you have in your first season, you've got, in this case, the security chief leaves the show and
Right.
they have to get a new one. And it's not someone else in the cast that takes over the role. They actually have fun with that for a couple episodes and bring in a couple different characters.
Yeah.
Right. Well-
But that's again season 2.
Well, like for me, it was annoying because I really liked her and they did some really like great character development episodes with her. Like
Mhm.
one of the episodes they did was the one where she was like she was
Afraid
in
of
that
Fire.
Losing her strength.
yeah, the Afraid of Fire thing. Yeah. And the,
Oh,
and
the
losing-
simulation.
yeah, the simulation. I mean, I feel like that whole episode is a waste now because it's like when you
Well,
rewatch it
it's-
and then you think like, oh, she's gone in the next season. Like, so who fucking
The
cares?
losing. I like the one
It
they
is one of
replaced
the
her
worst
with.
paced episodes. That Fear of Fire one. That one feels like it goes on 2 hours.
Mhm.
Agreed.
Don't get me wrong. I like her as a character, and I like how they bring her back in season 2 in a different, in
Yeah,
a different way. That was smart.
that was
But
cool.
because I heard reports that she came back for a couple episodes, but it was really, I think, just one.
Well, yeah,
But-
Seth didn't want to kill her off, and like he actually,
Right. He wanted
One
to
of-
keep her on, right?
Hmm.
he was fine with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing
Yeah.
is
Well,
that,
he's a
you know,
pimp. That's why. The dude's a Mac.
well, the
He's
guy
a
doesn't
vamp.
like to have bad breakups, and he wants to still be friends with people. Like
I mean, he's still
legit-
friends with Amelia Clark.
Yeah.
He
Why did
I-
they date too? I'm
when
confused.
she like just first was Daenerys
Really?
too. So I
Yeah.
bow my
Really?
head to you,
But
sir.
only for a few months. They weren't around together.
It was
long.
short, but man,
whatever. Like he dated her in her prime.
that's what I'm
amazing.
saying. I'm
She's
talking right
still in
after
her
the
prime.
bath
Have
scene.
you- Have you seen her recently? She still
That's
looks really
true.
good.
She is.
She does look
Oh
great.
man, but that first season,
but
she
her
was
as
smoking
Daenerys though, like woo,
smoking
like,
hot.
Kai wants to let us know that he's still friends with his exes.
And no one
That's
cares about you though,
nice,
Kai.
That's great. Most people think that's fucking weird. But I liked her character. I thought she was cool. I thought she was a cool character. I like the strength, like her being the strongest person. I like the pickle jar thing. I thought that was funny.
Yep.
The eyebrow thing messes me up though.
You know what's funny is
fixed in
I
the
didn't
next
even
episode.
realize that
I know they
until
do.
right now. I didn't even realize that until you guys said it. Like
Yeah.
I didn't even.
Okay, so let me
Noted
ask you a
that.
question. I know we're kind of just being general right now, but who do you like better, her or the replacement? Who is? And I'm
Her.
blank. Yeah, me too.
By
Tala?
far,
Tala. Is it? No. What's her name?
Yeah. Tala.
Tala, right?
Tala's
Yep.
the new one. I think.
Dude, I
Fiala was
love
the first
her.
one.
I love her. I think she's an awesome character.
Her or the next one.
The next one, I feel like,
The next one is pretty cool. There's
yeah,
something
dude,
going
she has
on
a
with-
swagger.
dislike
She has a
her a
swagger
lot.
about her.
I do not like her at all. I
I-
can't get into her.
I think
Is
she
it-
lost her right ear, and that's why she has the hair tied that way, because you never see it.
What?
Yeah, I always
Ooh.
wonder about that too. I'm always like, why isn't her hair like it's not even poking out? Like I'm
No.
like, it's
Can I-
technically that's what hairs do. Like
Nina,
if
can
you
I-
haven't- No.
Can I ask you a question?
Mhm.
When you generally meet someone who's kind of like you, do you like them or dislike them?
I like them.
Do you?
Yeah, because I'm like, oh, you're like me.
Because I
Like, they're
kind of feel like
self-insure.
she's a lot like you. She's
Really?
yeah, she's
Solid,
tough.
yeah.
She's tough, but she's also really, really kind.
I think
like-
I'm like more like this chick because I'm like way cuter.
You're no, I'm not talking looks. I'm talking
Just joking.
personality.
I know.
But like this one's all like, hey, I'm bubbly.
Yeah, she's like this chick reminds me of Krista Nova. I was like, this
That-
is like
I'll go with
Krista
that.
No-
Yes.
Krista Nova in like space.
Yes.
Is this chick? Jane, what about you? Do you like her or do you like the other chick?
I like her better, and I think it was because of what you said before. They invested so much time developing her character and her backstory. I love the episode where we go back to her home.
That was a great
and see
episode.
Her family life.
I
and
love that
just How
episode.
she grew up and her relationship with her father. I love that whole storyline. It just, it made her so endearing to me.
Me too. I
Mhm.
love that whole storyline, especially because that was also an episode where I had like Star Trek veterans returning.
Mhm.
You had the doctor from Voyager and the doctor from Enterprise,
And of
and I
course,
thought
the Doctor
that
from
was
Enterprise is going
incredible.
to be the creepiest of the two.
And he was great. He was great. Like he was so creepy. I loved it. I'm trying to find the
So
episode
that's
right now.
amazing because I don't know any
That's
of
in
these
season 2.
characters. So I would love to
That's
know.
embarrassing for you, Scott.
No, I'm not a
You
Trekkie.
should
Never
be
was.
embarrassed.
Never was a Trekkie.
Joseph
you.
Dredd said she was
Don't
also
dork shame.
in Prodigal Son. I
was
don't
too busy.
remember that.
Which one?
Joseph Dredd said Laura was also in Prodigal Son.
What's
Wait a
the
minute, is that the
plot
one
of
with
Prodigal Son again?
I don't know.
is Prodigal Son? No, that's the good son, right? The one with Macaulay Culkin.
No.
The Son, the episode?
No, the series.
Oh,
No, I've
Series-
never
I don't
seen
know
it.
that series.
I can't
I don't know
remember
what that is.
Prodigal. Yeah, Prodigal Son is not something I watched. I couldn't get either.
It starred Michael Sheen and Tom Payne
Yeah.
as like this crimes investigator. His dad was like a serial killer or something. It was really good, actually.
Oh.
Hmm.
Does
Should
it have an
check it out.
ending, Jane?
It does.
Shut
well,
up.
Yeah, kind of.
Oh my god. That went from like yes, no, kind of. Okay.
I'm trying to remember. It's been a while.
We've gotten used to not getting endings, Jane and I, so
It's a
we're
really
fine.
good
We're
show,
good
though.
with that.
Yeah, I
Really
feel
good
sorry for you guys and Martin.
Oh, when he said he had COVID, I was like, it's done. I'm good. I'm just, you know what? I almost was about to burn all my books.
Listen, he's gonna finish.
He's fine. He's fine. It's gonna be fine, Jane, right?
You guys
He's
are
not
so
gonna.
funny.
He's not gonna die.
No, he's not. He's gonna live on forever.
It's gonna be a brain in the jar with a robotic hand typing on that Commodore 64.
That's right.
Oh
That's
my
it.
god.
That's it.
It's
Okay,
still not gonna
so,
be finished 100 years from now.
so here's
It's like
the
I can live
episode.
forever. I can really hone it down now.
I worked on 3 letters today.
Oh my god. We're skipping ahead a little bit because I wanted to show you the father.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is her
Robert
daddy.
Picardo.
Yeah, he's amazing. I love him.
Now,
And
who did he
then-
play in Star Trek?
The doctor from
holographic
the
doctor.
from Voyager.
From Voyager. Okay.
Yeah.
hmm
Did he ever
And-
play something a little more magical or a little more?
Have you seen Back to School
Yes.
with Rodney Dangerfield? Okay,
Yes.
so he's the guy that is sleeping with Rodney Dangerfield's wife in the first act of the film.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
my god.
I just
Here's the photos of you and
Yeah.
Julio. Here's you. Here's Julio. What's with the midget? You know, like that's
I freaking love that.
I
Come
did not
on!
know that. That's
the triple
hilarious.
Lindy. The triple Lindy is the greatest dive ever.
Yes, it
Hey,
is.
Raging Rhino, good to see you.
Good day, mate. Frankie.
And also, this is the other guy. This is the other doctor.
Mm-hmm.
He's a doctor from Enterprise.
He
Also,
was always
also
weird to
great.
me.
Have you seen Enterprise though?
Yeah, he was weird. He's still weird.
Oh, okay.
He's
He was
funny in
also
something.
Something
Something-
True Blood, right?
That was what it was. It was
Wow.
True Blood. Yes. As what though? What?
Yeah, what was he in True
Because
Blood?
I loved.
don't
I
remember
loved
that.
True Blood.
He
I
was
watched.
also creepy, I think.
Yes.
He just has a creepy face and expressions.
So is the guy who was like, "I need my stapler." He was freaky in True Blood.
I didn't
Stephen
think
Root?
he was a creepy doctor in Enterprise, though. I liked him as an
He
Enterprise.
just has there's something about him. I just don't.
Well, when he was given serious roles in Enterprise, he was awesome. But it's all the stuff kind of like around that, where he's trying to be like friendly and jovial and sociable. It did not. The way they wrote him for that did not work for his strengths.
Dominic says he was a mortician.
He's a mortician
In
in
True
True
Blood.
Blood. Oh,
I'll
I've
say
watched-
but I don't
a
remember
couple
that
of
at all.
episodes here and there.
I've
He
watched
was
the
in one of them.
season twice, and it's been so long though I can't remember.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
I've,
Well,
that's
just
all
to
the drugs
backtrack
I
a
did.
little bit to season 1 of the Orville,
Mhm.
what are some of your favorite episodes? Because mine was definitely the second episode was one of my favorites.
So yours
you.
is the third. You mean the third one, the about a girl? Is that
Yes,
the one?
about
Yeah.
a girl. Sorry, that one, and I really like the one that you were talking about, Script Doctor, the one about that
Oh, the
society.
it's to look at the stars, something of the stars. It's based off of a story by a number of other science fiction authors, from like Harlan Ellison to Heinlein to Harrison. And
I don't remember that one. What one was? Oh, it's the stars should appear.
If the stars should appear, yes, that's the one. And it's if anyone's been watching some of the
Ooh,
morning
yeah.
shows on Midnight's Edge, Chris Gore mentioned Star Lost, which is a Harlan Ellison show he
Mhm.
did in Canada where he took his name off it because they were basically butchering his premise. And it's basically a generation ship that forgets they're on a generation ship and they're headed towards a star and they're going to die. And in Star Lost, one of the citizens figures it out that they're on this ship and they have to stop it. But in the Orville, if the Orville finds the ship and then in their investigation realizes what it is and tries to save them
Why
all.
don't I remember this episode?
I'm bringing up the picture right
Yeah,
now. You'll
please do,
remember
'cause
it.
It
I
was
can't
so
remember.
It's got
cool.
Liam Neeson in it at the end.
Yeah, it
he's
does
the
have
captain.
Liam Neeson in it in the end. I was so shocked. I was like, what?
Maybe I missed this episode.
And it has a ton of musical cues that are straight from Star Trek: The Motion Picture. As
Yes,
well.
The
it
frig,
does.
man.
There was a lot of good stuff in that episode. I'm
The
just
one
trying to
where,
get a good scene.
Alara
with the
gets
ship.
shot in the chest.
Yeah.
and Kelly gets beaten. like,
Dude, I must have skipped that by accident because I don't remember this
It
at
was
all.
such a good episode. What got me was Isaac asking the questions. Like, I didn't know what was happening. So it was a surprise to me when we all figured it out together. Like, I figured it out when
Aw.
the people did.
like this was a society too, which was fascinating, is that they had never seen stars or night in several hundred years.
Yeah.
Because they had the artificial light was going all the time.
And
When they
I
rolled
also
it back and they could see the sky, like, that was beautiful.
the only thing I didn't like about that episode was the other story with Clyden and what's his name, Bortus. Like I was like,
What?
this
What was the other one?
the story was like that. Like I think this was the one where Clyden is like, you know, feeling really, what's the word, neglected, and then that dude starts like going into like porno.
Oh, that was that episode?
I think
No,
so.
that was later. That
Oh, was that
yeah,
later?
that was later where he's going into like that, like all Clydens want to bang him,
Yeah,
or not
yeah,
Clydens, but all his own species. Yeah, that
all
was a
his
weird
own
one.
species. I hated that.
weird.
Well, I that one. I remember I didn't like the banging part, but the other story was great. And I
Yeah,
was like, this whole banging thing. I like.
well, it was about
hollow
addiction.
porn addiction.
Yeah, it
Like
was,
I'm not feeling this one at all.
I
Oh,
like
get there.
I liked Majority Rule, where
I
they
love
went to
that
that
one.
planet where you could just
Yeah.
kill somebody by just giving them red or
So
green or red.
surprised.
That was an awesome one.
That was literally like our world.
Because
That's
I'd
what's
be
happening.
dead. I'd be dead by now. I'd be lobotomized.
No, you wouldn't.
Oh my
my
god, the
God.
stupid shit I say sometimes. If that got caught on camera, holy crap!
I feel like he's right, Jane.
Yeah,
Don't try and make him
don't-
feel better about this. Okay,
mean,
Scott,
guys,
this was the ship. I finally got the scene. This is the ship that they go into. That they're
Never saw
here.
this episode.
They're in here.
Oh my god, I can't believe I missed this episode.
Oh, this
I'm-
is a great one. This is episode 4.
I know,
so
and
you
I'm
can go back
downloading.
and watch it.
Oh, that's awesome. How did I
and-
miss that?
And then this is when they go in. Like this is a good scene of the inside. So like when they're inside it, this is the sky. Like it's got like these like
It's a
panel
grid
things.
pattern
It's like a
and
grid
lights, yeah.
pattern.
Those guys were so
Oh, now this is-
aggressive.
Now this is
I know,
familiar.
right? I will say this, that the part of the episode that surprised me the most was the fact that the main pope actually wanted to tell people.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this guy's gonna totally like backstab
Oh
everybody.
no, you're confusing that with the,
Yeah,
one of the episodes at
flip.
the end of the season.
That's the one where the star
That's
is.
Mad
They're
Idol.
jumping in and out of the dimension.
That's mad idolatry. Yeah,
Where
that's
they're
Yeah.
We're talking about
worshiping
this
the
dude.
girl. Yeah, that's
that guy's not good. He's bad all the way through.
Yeah, no, the one I'm thinking of is where the Pope they start praying
a
to
god.
Kelly. She's a
Kelly.
goddess because they only spend like 7 days in our dimension,
right.
and then they go like
I'm
70,000
confusing
in
it,
the
you're
next.
Yeah, you're
So,
right.
that one is a good one,
confusing
too.
that.
That's a good one too.
Yeah, you're right. That guy was a dick the whole episode. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a picture of Liam Neeson. I just saw it. Hold on. Here's Liam.
They had a lot
that
of
was
great
so
cameos.
Holy
trippy.
crap! I missed 2 episodes. I just realized. So I missed that episode in Priya. Ed finds himself falling for the Orville's newest guest after the crew rescues an attractive captain from her stranded ship. That's
Oh, that's
the
the Charlize Theron episode.
That's
yeah.
with Charlize Theron. Yeah.
dude. How did I miss these 2?
Another good one.
You missed the 2 episodes that are associated to the cast of A Million Ways to Die in the West.
I know. I'm a little upset with myself right now. No
The
spoilers.
Charlize Theron one was
No,
like,
just kidding.
like it was okay. This one was way better. Like I thought this was a way better episode.
Yeah.
I
Well, I
can't believe
mean,
it.
But
it's
there he
basically
is.
derived straight out of like some of the classic generation ship sci-fi stories there are. So it was very solid.
Yeah,
It's all about society trying to keep their head in the sand, because if they take that out, they'll lose the power and influence that they have over everyone else. It's like when you realize there's a bigger world outside of what you're living in, you kind of have to force yourself to ask questions you may not be comfortable asking
that's
and
right.
getting answers to. But it's better to kind of live in a more honest society than it is to live in a fake one, just because it gives one power the ability to rule over others.
Yeah, like the mob rule, right? Like that was
Yeah.
really, and this is like when the Orville really starts to touch on like some serious topics, like, and you think that it's like, you know, that you think it's like all comedy, you think it's all fun, you think it's all games, and then they do stuff like this, and you're like, oh wow, this is not funny. Like,
but then again, how Ed manages to get inside the building by like saying, like, pretending that the guard is one of his old college roommates.
Yeah, that was.
And then he shoots him, and then he falls into his arms. Like, yeah, that's right. Let's hug it out.
Could I ask a question? Was the pilot done in that way because he sold it as they wanted it to be more comedy than sci-fi?
Fox would never have greenlit it if it was strictly science fiction.
So he played it that way in that first episode, and then was like, haha, like, I'm going for it.
Basically throw some more jokes in there as much as you could. Like, even Kelly, what she says to the guy as she's being tortured are some pretty good jokes.
Yeah, dude, one of my favorite, and it's not going to ruin anything for anybody, but in season 3, one of my favorite moments is him and Gordon with the luggage. That's all I'm going to say. I laughed.
Season 3?
Season 3.
I laughed so goddamn hard at that part. Like, I literally backed it up to watch it again because it is men moving luggage.
I have been in those situations many times. Where you're just trying to move like stairs.
Don't just stop in front of me. Just if you're gonna stop, tell me. Oh,
God damn it! We'll have to talk about that.
Yes, we will next week. Next week. I laughed so hard though.
You see two guys moving something and they're not in sync. That is exactly what you get.
Absolutely, my friend.
That reminds me of the Pivot episode in Friends. Like
one of my favorite moments in Friends too.
They do it way better. Though.
Yeah, they do. It's more. It's not as nutty. Yeah.
It's more real.
Yes, it is. It really is.
I also love how it reflects on how history can change and people can forget so much of their past. It makes you wonder, like, what we as a modern society have forgotten. Yeah. Because so many people have so many times, you know, forgetting who built the pyramids or who built the Pantheon. And I mean, we don't really know. And that's I love that a lot of these episodes explore that.
The problem is not enough people have taken the effort to read them and research them and share them, and being able to counter the arguments that says no, it wasn't humans that built the pyramids, it's aliens.
Screw the alien thing.
Yeah,
screw the alien thing. But it's also, you have historians who block people from being able to share that with the world. So for many generations, Egyptian government and their, Hassi, whatever the frick his name is, controlled the narrative.
But we're also talking about ancient societies, right? Because I think what Jane's getting at is that, like, the Earth is like millions of years old. Societies have come and gone. Like, so we've had, ancient societies. If we want to talk about as far as Atlantis or ones before, there's definitely been so much stuff that's happened on Earth that we have no clue about.
That's what we talk about in Aluminum Spork every Monday night. So check it out. Last week we talked about those underground cities. I'm telling you. I'm just, I gotta sell myself, baby.
I get it. Cities built over each other over generations, and it's amazing to think about. I think.
Let's also talk a little bit about this episode, the Krill, because I thought this was an important episode for the series.
Chris and Devin.
Oh, Chris and Devin. Avis. This is a good one, too.
We try harder.
This was a good episode, though, because it talked about the main enemy of season 1. The Krill is who, I was going to call them the Federation, but it's not the Federation. It's the Union. The Union is at war with the Krill because they think that the Krill think that the Union is a bunch of,
heathens.
Heathens, because they don't believe in a god, and like they don't even care if people are agnostic. Like they think like basically everybody's atheist and they don't believe in a god or whatever, and they want to kind of it's a religious war, and they pray to a god named Avis,
Mhm.
which is really fucking weird, but
That's
okay.
awesome.
It was
That's
funny.
brilliant.
Yeah, it's hilarious. And I think what was he like? He made a joke about like I like Hertz.
Yeah.
Earth has their own god called Hertz.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. So there was like some really good character explanation in this. I like that they bring back that woman later
Mhm.
on. I thought that was really cool. But this episode was great because it taught us about the culture of the Krill and gave us the backstory that we need and we want. Like who are they? Why do they hate everybody? And and that kind of stuff. And I think it also showed us more about Mercer's character and what Mercer like does as a captain, because he really is one of those people who thinks with his conscience, and he's not gonna abandon a colony of 100,000 people or whatever it was just because that wasn't his actual mission. He's not afraid to go against orders and change things up if he has to for the good of the people. So I
And
thought
you also
that
have
was
to
cool.
deal with a culture that thinks it's their divine right to and basically occupy all of the galaxy, and that no other life form can exist. I mean, that's
Pretty powerful.
Mhm.
we're talking about basically religious extremists as opposed to like just people who are faith driven.
Yep. It's like the Crusades in a way.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I love the fact that like the ending of this is really, really strong, because he argues like I can't kill children. He's like, doesn't matter, in a few years they'll be your enemies because they'll be grown up
Yep.
because of what you did.
That was cool
Mhm.
because that's the one that when they talk about you often hear like one man's terrorist is another man's like freedom fighter.
Mhm.
And that's basically what's happened here. I mean, she wasn't wrong in what she said, because like
Right.
all those people are gonna like their parents were on that ship, and this
Yep.
dude basically like killed their parents. So like she was like, all of these kids are gonna end up
Talea,
hating
right?
you.
Talea
Yes,
was.
I
Talea.
think
Yeah.
so. Yeah, and she was great too.
Oh, she's a powerful. Yeah. Wait.
And her human self is the actress, right?
Yes, and she's hot. She's cute.
She's
Yes.
super hot. Like
She's
I
been
was
in a
like,
lot of
whoa.
stuff too.
Wait, is he dating her too? Because she's
No.
like super hot and
Not blonde. Not
Here's
blonde.
the
She
trick
was
that you can
blonde.
tell if
Oh, was she?
Seth MacFarlane is dating a cast member. The cast member will not play a character that gets into a relationship with anyone else or
Ah.
at all. Like so,
But she was in a relationship with Mercer, so
well, Mercer can have relationships with other people, characters, but the actor.
What a
himself-
pimp he is. He is such a pimp.
So, for instance,
Yeah.
like Alara, one of the running themes with her is that she can't find a guy to date.
Yeah, because she's too strong.
She's unlucky with love.
Yep.
And then with the other character in season 3, well, she's of a different persuasion. So you're like they're never going to see them, win in romance on the show. And the same thing with Seth. Like all his romances on the show fail as well. So
Yeah.
Oh,
that's kind of like
interesting.
the running gag. It's like that's how you can tell. Oh, I get it.
That is so weird.
That is
Yeah.
weird.
What does that say about him? I love it.
Jane, you were saying that you don't like the Krill, or you didn't like the episode, or what don't you like about the Krill?
I just don't like the Krill.
They're
I don't
badass.
know, they're just my least favorite character so far.
Really? You didn't like them as the enemy? Because I mean, they are pretty fucking weird.
They are. I mean, they're incredibly powerful and they're formidable and all of that. But I don't know. They weren't that interesting to me.
What
Ah.
about oh my god, why am I blanking on Isaac's people?
Kalon?
Kalon.
Oh, his people are pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's a very
I-
different.
The Kalon are
And the
pretty
other
cool.
people they encountered, they were very similar to them, who kept them in the cage or whatever.
Yeah.
In the zoo
Yeah.
thing. I forget what they're called.
Oh yeah, the
that's
zoo
the,
people.
Oh, they start with a K as well, right?
Yeah,
They're in the
very
second
similar
episode.
name.
They're orange, red-skinned.
Oh, the second episode? That
like
would
them.
be
They're hilarious.
Alara
that?
must command the Orville when Ed and Kelly end up imprisoned in a replica of their old home. Those people are called the those guys. I have it. Give me 1 second.
No, it's not the Krill, Fat Steven. And also, did somebody just gift memberships to my channel? Because I just saw a bunch of people became members, but it doesn't say who or what they gave a membership or what's going
It's
on.
the Caledon, isn't it?
That's something like that. Yes.
It's something like that.
Caledon.
Yeah, that may
The
be
Act
Maybe.
1 Commander Quarters Navigator.
can't
I have it
see
right here, but I can't get their names. Kitten. No.
Yeah, they're
They're
like
news.
Orville wiki fandom.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and I don't remember the name of this people.
Well, I mean, I like the Krill because, well, they kind of remind me of Islamic people. And I don't mean any offense by that, but I grew up in a society that was very similar to this because we, like, I was in a not theological. Theologian. It's a theologian society, and it's ruled by religion. And I think that they've got this kind of the religious people down really well, like how they think and everything. And like I thought that was really interesting. I relate to, like I relate to that struggle of being in that kind of society. So I thought that was really interesting. And I think it's really interesting what happens with them in season 2.
Cavalon.
Which we're going to start talking about too.
Calivan.
Kardashians.
The Cavalon? Okay.
Calivan. Yeah, hold on. I'll write it to you. Calivon.
Okay.
Calivan
That's
Zoo.
the zookeeping species.
That's the zookeeping. Sorry, I'm so behind.
No, I kind of understand where you're coming from that because it was really like maybe less than a generation before you're born that Iran was not like that culture.
Right. Yep.
So yeah, the big
Exactly.
change in perspective there, and how we're kind of seeing little bits of that, not specifically to that culture, but just with regards to the obsessiveness over the faith as opposed to like a healthy balance, because we don't know what the Ankana, the Avis Bible really teaches, but from what we get of the Krill, it's like everything belongs to the Krill, and everybody else is just a perversion or a demon for them to slay. And you're wondering like, oh, is there going to be an episode in the future where they realize like, no, that's one gross misinterpretation of the book. It's actually like everything belongs to everyone, and the Krill are there to be as leaders or something of that, inspirational faith-based leaders to help and nourish and whatever. But they just decide, nah, that's too hard, so we're just going to exterminate.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting because the reason that I think they're very interesting is because of what happens like later on in season 2, which we can, I guess, start talking about now, and how they become like allies. Because, I mean, if anyone's godless, is a bunch of fucking robots. Like fuck the robots and the AI.
But before we get there, we were going to pick up on the Blue Alien recap.
Yeah, we got to talk about that because that's freaky deaky.
Yeah, so Rob Lowe's character comes from a species where it's impolite or rude to refuse sex.
Right.
Which that in itself bothers me.
Right. It's almost like because you can't say no. You're like, so if someone says, you're having sex with me, okay.
You have to do it. Like I thought, well, that's weird because I thought you as guys would be like really into that.
Well, maybe me personally, but like what happens if it's like a female, like, and people are taking advantage of that? That's wrong. And what happens if it's a chick I don't want, or a dude, or like something,
we don't know enough of the details of the culture, but it feels like what's the age of consent in this culture? Right?
Sex slaves. They're sex slaves. Also, another thing that bothers me about that culture is that they give off pheromones. You should give people a heads up on that because that's really what Kelly was responding to.
They don't know. They don't
keep
know.
It ambiguous, yeah.
That was left ambiguous, and I don't think she was. I really don't.
I don't think that was. I think it was the catalyst, but I don't think it was the reason. So, like, yes, they were having issues and she was lonely, but he squirted a little of those pheromones out, and she was like, "Let's do this nasty thing."
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Blue
stuff. She did justify it, so I mean.
Yeah.
It's not like she.
I mean, he was
making
I'm sorry.
Excuses, but she was explaining.
Right.
Her perspective, why she felt she was justified in cheating, and which I could not stand her to this day because of that. But
that really pissed me off too.
Oh my god!
And Mercer,
wait, what episode was this again? the pheromones episode?
That would be Cupid's dagger.
Yes,
that's
Cupid's
number
dagger.
9.
Yep.
Oh, in season 1.
Ask, what if someone had an STD?
Oh man.
Oh,
well, that's actually the joke with the Bortus and the holographic porn.
Right.
Because a giant tardigrade gives it to him, and it causes a virus on the ship, which is an STD.
That was so fucking stupid. I thought that was the stupidest part of the.
It's an allegory for Star Trek Discovery.
Yes.
It is. I mean,
And
it
it's
has to be
beautiful.
because it's fucking weird.
is
I
weird.
did think that scene with Yaphet and like that chick having sex was
Oh, Claire.
fucking wild. Like I was like, what the fuck did I
He
just
He
Weird.
witness?
surrounded her
Scene
like a
I've
bath.
Oh my God, that was fantastic.
That was so fucking weird. I was
That
like,
was
"Bruh."
sick.
It was just messed up. It was just messed up.
It was very like, and that's the kind of stuff though. Like I feel like is very Seth MacFarlane. Like I don't think like most people would. I don't know. I just feel like that's Seth. You know, like
But
that
isn't
kind of
that a-
comedy?
Okay, so the comedy, but isn't that an episode of Star Trek Discovery, or not Discovery, Next Generation, where they all start falling in love with each other and they don't even realize why, and that
No,
head off.
no, not that, not the aspect of that.
Oh, just how
what
it goes
they're
about?
showing and
Yeah.
how he goes about it, like
Yeah.
like that scene
Brilliant.
with him, like fucking spewing out the thing, like it's
Oh,
The
you
blue
know,
from the
sh-
forehead.
yeah. blue
What
from
was
the
worse than
forehead.
that was the scene with the green blob thing.
that's
Yeah,
Yeah,
and the
the
green blob
surrounding
thing was-
basically
That was worse.
the
that
dot
was
dropped to
weird.
her shoulders.
yeah.
It almost
I'll
reminded
try it once though. I mean,
It did almost remind me of like Odo and DS9 though, like when he was like merging with those other fucking
The
what's
other
it called,
founders,
the changelings. Yeah, and like it's like ooh.
Yeah.
But they don't really show that. But in this, she's like literally like, I'm trying to find the scene that they're doing so we can show, because that was wild, man. I was like, what the fuck?
and
Like,
you know what? Like that's the first season. Like Larry is saying, and we said before, he sold it as a comedy, so he gave him those MacFarlane moments.
yes,
And as the next I feel like he's getting away with it, but he has those moments, like you said, Script. It's seasoning. It's just a little bit of seasoning on the main course,
Yeah.
which I really
I mean,
believe. I love season
episode
3.
was funny though, like because they made peace because of the the two that really hated each other, and there was like they were on the brink of war,
Mhm.
and he uses his pheromones to make them fall in love.
Right,
So they're,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
She's gonna wear off like,
gay.
shortly after.
right.
Yeah.
And they're just gonna kill each other a week later.
Yeah, and then like the thing was the other thing that was funny about it though was oh my god, wait, never mind. I just got that scene, you guys. Hold on. Here it is. Prepare your eyes, everybody in the chat.
Oh,
'cause
no.
This is gonna happen. Here it is.
So awesome. That's so awesome.
Oh,
I was like,
Tell
oh
me-
my god.
She looks like she's having a good time. You're telling me you wouldn't try it once?
that's gross.
It's like sexual jello. Come on.
Oh no, this was gonna say, because at the end of this episode, when like Yaphet is like not interested anymore, and she's like, "You just wanted to have sex with me and use me, and now you want to throw me away," and she's like trying to kill him. Like I thought that was funny. That
was
stuff
funny.
was freaking hilarious, and she was like going crazy, and that was really funny.
Well,
Crazy.
think about the two people she's had sex with on the show. One is a blob. The other one is an alien that
A
has no
fucking
feelings.
robot. Yeah.
That has no feelings.
Her entire existence on this ship is a train wreck.
See, that's what I'm
Her
saying,
kids are
man.
terrible. Like the whole
Yeah.
everything is horrible for her.
No,
Like
her
her
youngest-
son, her oldest son should be in prison.
Yeah, her
should
youngest
be.
son is adorable. Like,
Oh, the youngest
The
son is a
youngest
genius.
son's so
Write the other one
cute.
off, though. He was evil.
Really?
yeah, I think
No, I'm
Marcus
just
is the-
kidding.
Marcus is the
He
oldest
was
one,
spray
Ty's the
painting and-
youngest one, I think. Yeah.
He was caught. He was hurt. I understand.
The
I'm
way
just
he talked
saying.
to her.
Yeah, don't
she
get
just
into
knocked
season
him
3
clear
stuff,
off
Scott.
of that
God damn it.
ship.
No, I'm not getting it. Well, why was that season 3?
Yes, just shh.
Okay,
season
but
3.
the way he talks to her,
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
season 2 with the Marina Sirtis cameo episode. Is that the one, or is it the other one where Cassius is in season 2? Cassius is introduced.
I want to
school
say it's
teacher.
that one. Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
in season 1, when they have their first kind of like outing together, and then like their shuttle crashes,
Mhm.
and then he has to take care of the kids.
Hmm.
That's like when we first get to know the kids, and like they're being really bad, but at the same time, like teenagers are gonna do shit like that. And I thought that was really realistic, and I thought
Yeah.
that part was really sweet when he's like telling his mom, like, "I'm sorry, I told you that. I
Yeah.
love you," because
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, that's real. Like that's boys. They love their moms, but
They do.
at that age, they're not gonna say that like ever.
Well, Isaac telling the story in the mom's voice for the kids so that they could fall asleep.
Brilliant. That really got
Creepy
me.
as hell.
No, it
I
got
was like,
me.
I hate AI. This is why these motherfuckers are gonna take over. Just watch.
Yeah, no, you know what? I want to be held by them as one of their pets because I
But
was
I
like,
like the
whatever.
that the kid said, "Could you do it in Mom's voice?" Because he volunteered earlier on that he can repeat someone else's voice,
Yep.
but just to show that he can do it, and then Isaac's like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" Like,
Yeah.
no, there's something else going on underneath his programming aside from just the Kalon-ness.
And he won't admit to it either because he can't. Maybe he doesn't see it. What I do love about Isaac is that she does see that in him that he doesn't see in himself. That he is becoming more human without even realizing it. He's changing, and the actor himself, just the head movements and like the rhythm he does things in, like you see emotion. He emotes emotion like with just 2 blue dots. Like I find that pretty impressive.
I think that's what creeps me out.
Yeah.
I'm so surprised that you don't love him, Jane. I thought you would be like, I love the doctor because she's in love with the AI, and I love the AI too.
No, I would love the AI if he were more like consistently robotic.
Yeah.
But
see, I don't-
he's not though.
You don't
How do
think
you
he
mean
is? I
that,
thought
though?
he was. I thought he was really good at that. I don't know.
It's no.
Please elaborate.
Yeah, elaborate on this.
No, he doesn't come across as stoic. He doesn't come across like
Data?
Like I personally feel he should. He comes across as someone who is acquiring consciousness. It almost reminds me of Westworld. It's just weird.
Well, okay, so what I see as him is it's not that it's consciousness, it's that he has his whole thing is I don't have anything, I don't have enough data on humanity to understand what you guys mean, so I need more data to get it. So I see
Which
what
is
you're
why
saying.
He cuts off Gordon's leg for a joke.
Yes, that was awesome.
That was funny.
Finding the leg was also hysterical.
Yeah. I love Gordon. Gordon's great.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree, Jane, because I think like he's like, to me, I think he's gotten that down. Maybe he's like on the brink of gaining consciousness, like the way you said, but there's a lot of the time where he's literally like an AI. He's like, I don't feel this. Like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Explain how. Like, and he's just kind of like, what are you talking about? Like, this is not, I don't know. I think
When
he's
they had
very
him
honest.
commit suicide, though, I was just like, no.
I thought that was powerful.
That's season 3.
No,
y'all.
it isn't. That's the end of season 2. That's the end of season 2.
It isn't.
It isn't?
No, it's
Jane, you really screwed up.
Wait, was it?
yeah, it was season 3, episode 1.
Season 3,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
Come on,
Here's the thing.
Jane.
God damn
Every
it, you guys.
season, Isaac gets deactivated once every season.
That's true.
That's true.
That is true.
But we don't want to talk about season 3, episode 1 right now
Yeah,
because I have a lot to say about it. And
Uh-huh.
I had a problem with all of that.
Okay. Make sure you
can't
watch
get
the
into
rest,
fucking
though.
Season 3 right now.
Watch the rest before you make your full decision.
And
I
the
will say,
reason
like,
I
they're
know is
about it.
because the first episode, when I saw that, like that whole thing, that's really fresh in my mind because I watched it last night and I was like, I don't like this episode. I did not like the start of season 3. I was like very, very disappointed in it. But
I
we'll
gotta
talk
say,
about that next
least
week.
favorite, but also I liked parts of it.
But okay, so into season 2, we find out that the biggest villains of season 2 is the Kalon,
Uh-huh.
that they had sent their robot friend to observe, as he's always said. He's always said, I'm here to observe. And from moment 1, when he said that, I was like, this motherfucker is going to betray everybody because that's what AI does. Because like their whole society wasn't part of the Union. Only he was part of the Union. We didn't even
Right.
know where the
He was
Kalon
an
planet
ambassador.
was. He was their ambassador, and he was like they had
Emissary.
Emissary.
their emissary. They had put all of these kind of clues as to like, they're not really that friendly because they're very standoffish. We don't even know where their planet is. We're not allowed there. We're not allowed in their space. Only this dude is gathering information.
They're smart.
Personally, sorry, go ahead. Jane.
No, I was just gonna say they're smart about that. I would have
Yeah.
done all those things, but yeah, go ahead.
I mean, of course you would, Jane, because you've sent them from the future to come kill us. But no,
You're a robot.
Ian agrees with you for 5. Says yes, Jane's Westworld comparison is that well played, Jane. Well played.
Thank you.
Well, I haven't seen Westworld, so I can't. I've only read it though,
Don't
but I
waste your
can.
time.
Yeah.
Season 1 was decent.
Season 2 was
Yeah.
bad, but
Oh, God, it was bad.
Watch the movie. The movie's way better.
I like the movie. I like the movie, and I like the book.
all of them. There's more than one.
There's Future World, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Not as great, but it's interesting.
But anyways, I just think that like I just found that fascinating that they did that the way they did it. By the way, before I get into everything, I keep forgetting. Watermark, thank you so much for gifting the memberships.
That's awesome.
I saw that a minute ago, and I didn't want to interrupt the show. But everybody, thank you so much for being here, and smash the like and share the stream. Okay, so then, yeah, I really did like the episodes where they start talking about, what's it called? The war. I think it was Identity Part 1 and 2. And I think that's when we kind of figure out, yes, it is.
Yes. Yep.
My favorite episode of the entire, well, as far as I've seen, because I haven't seen season 3 yet, but my very favorite episode of the Orville is part 2 of this thing, Identity Part 1. I mean part 2. I think that was like the best episode of the entire series. I mean, it had like that episode to me had everything, and I mean everything that we could possibly ever want when it comes to like Star Trek right now, Star Wars. Like it had, spaceship battles. It had like the mystery. It had like just everything about it was like so cool. And I
somebody
thought
just
that
gift more?
Yeah.
Shake from Hunger.
Oh.
Somebody just gifted more. 5 more.
Oh my God! Shake from Hunger Team, thank you so much for
awesome.
gifting 5 more memberships. You're
That's
so
so sweet.
awesome. Thank you. Yay! More members. They can say good humans and all the other stuff. Thank you. Okay, here is, and of course that like the actual Kalon has like the red eyes, and I was like, these motherfuckers are.
Oh, I know.
Shit.
I know. Was he given blue eyes because they like realized blue would be
different.
less?
Well, he was built by the Kalon, not the original.
Yeah, but not all of them. There's a lot that have been, but they all have like orange or yellow or red, and he has blue. And I thought they did that to make him more appealing.
No, I think they did that because he is different than they are. They actually wanted to distinguish him because they, like Script was saying, that he wasn't built by the original creators. And they just wanted to make sure that he's different and that he knows he's different. And it was interesting to me that like something that was interesting to me in this was the fact that like they didn't do the whole hive mind thing, because at first I thought that they would, but they didn't do the hive mind. And these guys are all individual people, like well, not people, robots.
They're just on a net.
Yes. But they all have their individual characteristics. Yes. So they don't all know what's going on with one another at the same time. And I think that part is fascinating.
Same.
So that it's
original
different.
Too. For me, I thought it was original.
Yeah, it's different than most sci-fi, because whenever like we deal with sci-fi, we talk about the hive mind. Like it's always like the Borg. It's like, let's copy the Borg again. Let's copy the Borg. Of course, Scott has no idea what I'm talking about because
I know who the Borg are. I've seen the movies.
Oh, that's good. Okay,
yeah.
So you have some idea.
I do know.
I was like, are you like totally clueless?
They live in big cubes.
Okay, there you go. You at least you know that
I know
much. So okay, Jane, I really want to know what you thought about this episode. What did you think?
No, I thought it was really good. I mean, I like the storyline. I like these particular set of characters more so than I even like Isaac himself.
Wow.
And
they're interesting.
Yeah, so I thought this was one of the more interesting episodes, I would have to say. I liked it, but it's not, I wouldn't put it in my top 5 episodes, but I
really
still enjoy. Yeah,
that was my number 1. I was like, this is fucking
episode
awesome.
1, the part 1 or part 2, or both? Part 2,
man.
Yeah,
like,
it's pretty
when
interesting.
They do the space battle, like I was like, this is what we're missing, like in everything today. Like we're getting nothing. It's like so entertaining. Like I was like so entertained throughout all of it. And it was, and their budget had gone up in season 2, so like the space battle was like pretty freaking decent.
Yeah, they also changed the color of their badges. No longer correspond to their department. They're all silver now.
Yeah.
That's when season 2 officially starts, which is the third episode.
Third episode, I believe. Yes.
Because the first 2 wrap up Alara, and then they bring in they bring in
or it's 4 because Alara
Patrick Warburton with the elephant looking.
Yeah.
alien, which was funny.
I think it's episode 4 because episode 3 they go home to her home planet. That's the last episode she's on.
Yep.
So
And
episode
then,
4.
Episode 4.
Yep.
And then they bring in Tala, who I dug.
I love.
because, Yeah, there's something spunky about her.
Yeah,
I don't like
buddy.
her at all. I think she's like not spunky enough, and I think she's like a really flat character. Like I just can't get into her. I think she's so flat. I'm like, can she have a personality? Like she has.
Well, there's that one episode where she's gets into a relationship with the Kalon, or not the Kalon, the Mocklin. The
Mocklin,
the
yeah.
Mocklin one. That one was okay, but I still thought she had a really flat personality in it. I don't know. I didn't.
Maybe I see what you
think she was
mean.
great.
She doesn't. She's not very like. She doesn't emote emotion. Yeah, like I see
She's
what you're
not
saying.
emotionally available.
Yeah.
But that changes.
Yeah, it does. It does. But we'll talk about
Okay.
that next week.
Okay, we'll talk about that next week. But okay, let's talk about this for a second because what in the fuck was up with the gun design on the Kalons? I thought that was fucking ridiculous, and I don't know if they're trying to do that for fun. Like, you know, Seth Macfarlane's like, let's be different and make their
Well,
eyes
have
a
you
gun.
seen the movie Blade 2?
Yes, but it's been so long that I don't.
Well, you know
remember shit.
the advanced vampires where their
Yep.
jaw splits into 3 sections.
Yep.
That's what they're trying to do here.
Well, it's almost like because they
yeah,
feel like
I
it's,
remember that. Okay,
they feel it's more efficient that they don't have their hands are still free.
why
you know-
not have guns in the hands as well? Because they're just walking around like this. What is the point of having hands?
Yeah,
there?
I don't know. I think he's just
Well,
trying
you
to
can
be
hold your
different.
target and then shoot them more
Yes.
accurately.
Or you could play. I don't know. You could play Thumb Wars and still blow people up. Come on.
I guess so. I thought that
Or
that
you can
like,
operate a console, turn your head around 360, 180 degrees, and shoot
Yep.
the person behind you.
Yeah, without skipping a beat.
That was
I
senior
thought that the
programming.
eye thing was fucking stupid, but like what? Okay, whatever. He's trying to be like original.
Looks like they're wearing a bra on their head. Yes, I understand.
Yeah, it is. It is weird.
Like,
I
it's
I only like it
weird.
when it's really fast. When it like comes out, shoots, and goes back in, I'm like, okay, that was kind of neat. But when it sits out
That's
like
what
that,
she said.
yeah, a lot of times. I gotta say, one of my favorite episodes in this season was Lasting Impressions.
Okay, let me pull that one up.
That's the
Last
time
one.
capsule one.
Yeah, that's a great one.
First
That
of
was a
all,
good episode.
the one thing I always have loved about Star Trek, and I loved about, because I did watch a bunch of Star Trek Next Generation. I want a holodeck. I want anything that is I forget what they call it in the Orville at the moment. Not a holodeck,
Simulator.
but simulator.
Simulator.
I want this in my life. And someone
never
needs.
leave.
I love
probably.
this
I
episode because
wouldn't.
of the smoking too. The smoking was so funny. Like I was like dying.
They're fighting over each other.
Oh my God, they were hilarious.
He's like, give me like 600 cigarettes. I was
100
like,
cigarettes.
Oh my god, I'm so
Right.
dead right
The
now.
fact that he opened up a pillowcase and a whole bunch of them fell out. I know people who did stuff like that.
I just love how they're smoking so fast. They're like, oh man, it's so funny.
Flavor.
Jane, what were you gonna say?
No, I'm in the minority. I don't like those characters either.
See,
Which
I
ones? You don't like
Come on.
Bortus and what's his name?
No, they
Clyden.
annoy me to no end.
I don't like what they
hate
did with
the other
Clyden,
guy. I hate Clyden.
but I don't like what they
supposed
did
to.
with Clyden. Like he wasn't that character, and then
He
all of a
was thrown
sudden,
off that way. Exactly.
no, he was like, let's protect. It was about protecting their child, not like because of the. It's because of the culture, but it wasn't his feelings. He just wanted to protect his child. Like,
But he
and-
was always a dick about it, dude. Like
'Cause he was
the one
scared.
that wanted that thing to happen, even though he realized that he was one of the women.
Yes,
or
I get
whatever.
that. But then he becomes like a diehard. Like,
Yeah, like
Yeah.
he doesn't not only switch his mentality about it, he becomes even more convinced
Yeah.
that it's the right way. And I think that like really bugs me about his character.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking hate
Well,
Clyden. I think he's my
Clyden
least
doesn't
favorite
interact
character.
with anyone else on the ship.
Yeah.
So he's very isolated, and
Yep.
if he does see a woman, he doesn't really give her much
Right.
regard.
Right.
He's
he's
super
got a
racist
bias.
and sexist.
But I love Bort. I like I don't like the character. Don't get me wrong, but Bortus, I freaking love that character.
I like Bortus.
Yeah.
So Jane, what were you saying?
No, it's just he becomes so clingy, and it's just an annoying.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's
Woman,
the really
basically.
annoying
Yeah,
style
he's
that
a
you want
Mitch.
to. Like,
He's a
just
Mitch.
Get a divorce, like fuck.
Exactly.
But
And the
I will
divorce,
say,
but the divorce episode was funny. Was that also season 3?
No,
Yeah, that's where he stabbed the board.
Is that season
oh,
3
that's
or
when he
2?
no,
That's
that's
two-
season
season
2.
two.
That's when
Okay,
he gets
good job, Jane.
stabbed.
That
That was
was-
great.
Oh my God,
No,
stabbed his
what-
ass.
I mean, but
Or when he takes the piss.
I
Sorry.
thought that was really funny though, because it's like if they're going to get divorced, right? Like he's like, I'm gonna kill you because I'm gonna fucking divorce your ass. But then he ends up not dying. But I was like, I think you should separate anyway. I mean, technically he died for like 2 minutes. Like he should just then they should just go their separate ways. But then they're
Yeah.
like, we want to make it work. And I was like, why? Like you guys are
Right.
so fucking completely different. Why would you want to try and make it work again? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Definitely dysfunctional.
Wait,
who is this actress?
Leighton Meester. That's what
I
I was going to say.
love her.
I love her, and I have a non-sexual crush on her. Maybe it's a
Okay.
little sexual.
Yeah, it should be.
Because it's she's from Gossip Girl.
Oh,
and I
that's it. Okay.
fucking love her. And when she was in Gossip Girl, I was like,
She is very
love her.
pretty.
I just love her, and she's got a great singing voice because she's a singer as well. So, Jane, don't you love her? She's
Damaj and I.
Damaj and I is in the chat. Hey, Damaj
Hey,
and
man.
I. Good to see you, Jane. What did you think of this episode? Did you like this episode? No? Okay. Jane just went totally silent.
Yeah.
Wait,
He'll be back in a moment.
no worries. What was I
The
gonna say?
Geloja episode was fantastic.
This was a
No,
Gordon. This was a Gordon episode. That's why I
That
loved
was
it.
a Gordon episode, and he was a
Yeah.
really good singer in this too. Like he did,
Yeah.
he did the singing, and he was super sweet. I did think this
Ooh,
was
I'm
a big
buffering on our
nod to
other-
one of the Star Trek episodes, because like there is a bunch of Star Trek episodes that has to deal with holo addiction, and this was one of them. And this was really similar to the one where Barkley is getting involved with like the holodeck
The
people.
fantasies, yeah.
Yeah. And I like that kind of stuff. That this is
Yeah. I hope no one's having problems because I'm watching the stream. Like I jump back to make sure everything's all right, and it is buffering like a mofo. Okay, it's finally back. All right, I just want to make sure no one's because that happens sometimes with YouTube.
The Fupits says this is the most random unstructured stream covering 2 seasons ad hoc nuts in here.
That's us.
Yeah, it's a little all over the place. It is.
we are all over the place. I mean, it's 2 seasons. Why not?
It's 2 seasons.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Yes.
We
Yes.
just want to talk about what we like, and
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna do like 2 different seasons,
Right.
well, I
And,
was
like, episode
technically,
by
but
episode.
we canceled last week because my cat got sick.
Yeah.
So now we're doing 2 and 1. That's what she
How?
said.
Is it All the World is a Birthday Cake, the one where the culture is guided by the stars?
Yes, that's. The
I found
astrology.
that I love those type of episodes where you get to an advanced culture like the Krill, like that culture, like the one that has the green and red button, and they just like, it's something so ridiculous, but you have to find a reason why to respect it, and because of the union rules. Like I find it very interesting how they work around it sometimes, how they do show the respect. I think something with Macfarlane he did really well with this is he found old Star Trek by not. Yes, he chooses a side in every episode. You know what side they're leaning towards, but he never truly makes the other side look evil. It's just that they're strong in their beliefs.
They were dicks. in
Yeah,
this-
no.
in this
And
episode.
I get that, but yes, I get that. But he doesn't make them truly just, except for like the goddamn guard. Okay, maybe I'm lying. I'm so wrong.
The what?
The guard was a jerk.
Yeah, like some of them were dicks, but no, you're right though. Like, and again, this is another nod episode to a TNG episode. This is kind of like a nod to the one where Wesley steps on the grass, and then they have to.
Oh, see, I thought that was
Oh,
more
you
like
do
the
have to
red
ask-
and green
yeah.
one. I thought that was more like the red and green one, but I see why you mean that with this one.
No, this one is different because it's like the culture. In the next gen episode, there's a random point that's taken and says if you violate this area, it breaks the law, you die, and only the people who live there know it, and the guests don't.
Mhm.
And in this episode, it's like, well, if you're born in this 4-week
No matter
period,
what.
no matter what, you're deemed evil, even though you don't behave in that way,
Right.
and you are imprisoned.
Yeah.
And it's horrific because, and the other part too is like even the culture that they were interacting with doesn't even understand their own hypocrisy because they interacted with 2 of those people that they thought were evil that
Right.
for almost a day, maybe even longer, and didn't know it. And it's like, well, the argument is like, you had no idea that they were this, and that should tell you something. But unfortunately, like, that's one of the things that the Orville actually really fails at, is they don't explore as big of the potential of their ideas
Yes.
as other science fiction shows do. Is one of my gripes with the About a Girl episode. The first 2/3 of that is really great.
Yes.
But the trial is just asinine. It is
Yeah.
incredibly incompetently done.
And that's how I felt about that other episode script, the one with like, you know, the porn addiction, like, you know, that Clyden and what's his name were going through, because they had a really good side story, and then like that story made it so silly and like just like, oh, okay, like, and it was like a little bit
was the side
much.
story them trying to rescue the civilization on the planet that's going to be burped by the sun, I think.
I think so. I think that
Because that was
I'll
a
let
good
you
story
know in a
where
second.
they're trying to. There's only 75 people left, and they could only save 30.
Oh God, that
Oh,
was
I
so
remember
And then you
that
look inside that
one.
shuttle, and you're like, you could easily fit 75 people in that.
Yeah.
Just lie on
Right,
your
right.
backs and stack them up like
I
their
did
cargo.
not.
Uncomfortableness for like
they were-
10 minutes is fine for their whole species to survive.
And I thought that was because of like a weight issue, and I was like, wait, what? There's like a weight issue.
There's no
to
weight
do-
issue in solid state fuel.
yeah,
advanced
like
things
what?
that.
I
I was
didn't
like,
know
if these
they
people were
actually gonna leave
Mexicans,
them,
there would be people
but they
like
didn't.
strapped onto the hood of the fucking thing. Like, let's go. But
You did-
sorry, Jane, go ahead. Say that again.
No, I was just saying. I was at. That's another episode where I was actually shocked
That they did
and
leave him, right?
surprised. Yeah, that they actually went with it. And that's one of the things I do love about the show, is that there have been those moments, unlike a lot of what we see today, where I'm actually surprised, I'm shocked, I'm shook by some of the decisions that they make, and that was one I did not see coming.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it was for me, that was a powerful moment for this show, because they weren't willing to give you this is going to be a happy ending.
I
They-
thought that was dumb as fuck. It
I-
didn't work for me because I
Well-
was like the technology they had, and then they weren't even able to save the 75. They just saved 35, like 30 people, and I was like, this is so stupid. Like, it's like, you know, this is a futuristic society. Like, you know,
Right.
we're not talking about like. And if you're gonna do something like that, I would need more. Like, I would need like some sort of something to fry the, you know, the fucking shuttle thing or whatever, and then for them to be like, oh, we can't carry this many people for this reason. Like, it wasn't
Yeah.
like they didn't give you anything. It was just like, oh, this is so random, and they're so close to that sun anyway. If you're going that close, like, the Orville could have come straight up into the atmosphere of that, and then just done it themselves. Like, it I don't know, I felt like
Okay, that I
was
can
really
understand, but
off.
wasn't the... Oh, go ahead.
It reminds me of a TOS episode where Spock is in command of a shuttle, and
Mm-hmm.
it crash lands on a planet, and Scotty's there, and they're like, well, we have only so much energy, and we do have a weight restriction, so they start taking the chairs out of the shuttle and just stripping it down to its bare parts so they
Right.
can get off.
Yes.
I'm like,
yes.
that should have been
That
a
should be what these
factor
guys were doing.
this
Like, take
episode
these
to get
fucking
as many
chairs
people
out.
Wasn't their
let's
whole
go.
thing is that they didn't have time?
They didn't have time, and
They
that the
anticipated
virus
getting
affected
everybody.
it.
They've
Yeah,
got
the
a
virus.
robot and they've got a Mocklin, both species with a lot of strength. They just rip that stuff out.
You know what?
while
You're
people are
playing-
coming outside.
You're
Just
playing
like,
Monday
push it.
morning quarterback,
Didn't they
okay?
have that-
You weren't
that-
there in the moment, man.
They had that other bitch too. What was her name? The pickle jar opener. I mean,
Tala.
that bitch.
Tala-
just like,
Tala,
Take that shit out, man. Let's
Yeah.
go. Like,
You call her a bitch again, lady. I'm gonna...
I mean, they spent like 9 hours prepping the shuttle, and the first thing that would have been in my mind as a commanding officer would be like, get rid of all the chairs except for the 2 that require to fly, because we are stacking these people up like they're cargo.
Okay, so the only thing I'll disagree with you guys with is this. I'm glad they did what they did, because it was a virus that was caused that screwed up the power of the ship, and they had to reroute it so they had power enough to they thought they could take the 75 people back.
Yep.
The virus screwed it up. They couldn't take all the people back. Screw your chair stuff. But when they got back, Bortus should have been thrown in prison.
what was this episode called again? Because I'm trying to.
Primal Urges.
Okay.
Great name, isn't it? But it's all his fault that 30 people died. It's all his fault because he had to get down with it.
Yeah,
I hate
he-
him so much.
I freaking hate Bortus. Or not Bortus, the other guy, Clyde.
Yeah, Clyden's a douche.
Well, the reason he's going into the Hollow Suite is he no longer he can't be intimate with the man that mutilated his child.
Right.
Essentially,
Right.
that's
Right.
kind of
That was his only way of that was his stress relief. No pun intended.
Oh my god! But do you see what I'm saying though? Like in terms of like the I just
There
think
should have
that
been more urgency. You're saying, like
I'm
at least
saying-
try.
it should have been 2 separate episodes. Like if you're
Yeah.
gonna do something so serious, and then you're like,
Mm-hmm.
it could have been a really powerful episode because you had these really cool shots too that I'm trying to get right now.
See,
Like there was like these really cool shots of
Mm-hmm.
the Orville like right next to the sun, and it was like incredibly epic looking and stuff.
Mhm.
And then you go from that to like Clyden and the fucking.
but I didn't take it as funny. I actually didn't take that episode, the sex porn thing, as funny. I took it as it's actually was really sad to me because Bortus doesn't know how to accept what happened to his daughter and deal with it with his man, that he turns to this porn addiction. And
But they didn't.
They
do
made it
in
a little too
serious
goofy.
Way.
They made it a
just
little
made
too
it
goofy.
so goofy.
I see
and
what
you're
you
like,
mean.
Okay,
Yeah.
like this isn't. It just wasn't the tone. They failed in both. They
Mm-hmm.
failed in making it a super serious episode that could be really powerful and actually teach you something.
Yep.
And they failed at making it super funny. So you're like, ha 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 ha, like. This guy's, has a porn addiction and he can't, have
Right.
sex with
Again,
his partner anymore.
all I'm going to say about it, that was the second episode. I still felt like until season 3 and the end of 2, I felt like he was still, Macfarlane didn't know if he could step away from that type of, like, I have to make something funny through the whole thing. Like,
Exactly. It's
you
like,
know?
no, you don't have to. Like,
And
you
I think
can
he
make
finds
it
that.
serious.
Yeah, basically Lamar and Isaac trying to like purge the virus while the holographic Mocklins are hitting on them.
yeah.
It's funny if it was isolated and they didn't have the stakes of saving 75
Right.
people. If it was like the ship's in trouble and
Right.
no one else is
Yeah.
being harmed and they did that, you could probably get away with it a little bit more because it's like it's all internalized. It's a bottle episode. But this one dealt with like, oh, there's another civilization, the last of its kind. Like there's something there.
See, there's True Kang saying those shuttles could not carry 75
Those shuttles
people.
are the size of a short yellow bus. You can fit over 120 people in those.
You could fit 75
Is it-
people, especially if you take out. Hold
The
on. You know what?
seats.
Let me bring up.
Are we talking about the
There's a
same
shot
shuttles
where
they
you see-
travel
There's a shot.
everywhere?
There's a shot where like they actually show the people in there, and they're
There's a
like
lot of
6
room.
feet apart. I'm like,
Well,
are
you have to
people
be
like
comfortable
COVID?
while you travel. COVID. COVID.
Like, are you like? Is this like 6 feet apart? Because
Well, they heard
COVID?
virus,
Like,
so
what
they were
is
like,
going
oh,
on?
no.
Because I was like, dude, I'm telling you, when you live
That's
in
great.
Mexico and there's like a family of 6 on a motorbike,
Yeah.
you're like, okay, yeah, they could have fit more people on this shuttle.
If I can
Uh,
fit 54 people in a 97 minivan made from Chrysler, they can fit 75 in a shuttle that's
Right?
clearly the size of a small, like of the dumb bus from schools.
Impressive.
Oh, hold on,
Impressive.
I'm
The
trying to
short bus.
find that scene because when you see it, you're like, okay, there's definitely room for at least 5 more. Like, like at the very
I get
agree
that.
with you that they should have done more to actually demonstrate that they couldn't carry all of those people. But I
Mhm.
think
They
they
didn't
were
provide the
focused so much
variables
on the
needed. They
moment.
just said we can only carry 30. Why?
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, that's
no,
it.
just trust us. No. I want to know why I have to leave, like a spouse or a child behind, or they have to go without me.
I'm not going to talk about it, but Michael Quaid, I disagree with you. I don't think season 3 is a woke Phil travesty. I truly don't, and we'll discuss that next week.
We're gonna
The reason
discuss
why I
all of
believe
that.
that. I see why people think that, but I think you got to look at it a different way.
That's funny because I hear this argument going on a lot about The Boys as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen The Boys, so I
Yeah.
can't comment on that at all. But
Oh.
I'm looking forward to having this discussion because, like I said, I've been very nice to the Orville in terms
Yeah.
of like what I like, mostly what I like when it comes to season 1 and 2. Because there is like definitely stuff that pisses me off about this series sometimes, like this, what we just talked about. Okay, here we go. This is one of the shots. Hold on, I got one right here. So you got all of this space here. Let me
Look at how
look at
much
this.
space you got there.
Look at how much space you got here. Like
Look,
the,
we got one of them
You could
sitting
put
down.
another
It's like,
row.
if they all lie down and were on top of each other and uncomfortable as that would be, it's only like 10 minutes.
it's only
And
10 minutes to the ship. It's not that far. And then there
there's
was another
headspace, you got
shot.
people on their shoulders.
And then there's another shot because it shows them from the front as well. And hang on, I'm just trying to get this on the pause too. But like you could see all of in front of Bortus and the other guys free of space, and you're like,
Yeah.
wait, what? Like they literally like all of it could have been full of people, and it's like, no.
Wasn't it that it wouldn't have had enough thrust to get out of the atmosphere?
Well, there is no
Because-
atmosphere. It was vaporized by the sun.
Okay, so any magnetic, I don't know,
Would have all been
something.
destroyed. Like the thing is, the shuttle
Stop
has
being
shields.
so smart.
Shuttle has
Yeah,
shields
you're valid-
to a
valid
degree,
point.
right? So even if the
Yep.
planet breaks up and there's no mass holding it down, they just have to fight with the sun. But you have the Orville nearby that could use a tractor beam to pull
Right.
them.
Right.
Exactly.
Which they did in the Priya episode earlier.
Could
in
have
the
gave us
season, so-
anything. See, I missed that episode, so now that's why. Okay.
Anyways, there was just some stuff that you're like, okay, what? Like, and then, you get stuff like, oh, we're all about to die. And then you're going from like that scene of like them dying because they're like literally flipping over in this, like, they're over like in this epic fucking scene with the fucking sun just exploded, blah, blah, blah. And literally it's like cutting back and forth, them finding out that this dude is like having sex with other dudes in the fucking holodeck. And I'm
But
like, why? Like, the
Again,
fuck?
isn't that the end of season 1 that they turned into season 2 though? Like, I just feel like they didn't have their way until more into this season, where you start seeing them finding their way.
I guess
Season
so.
3, I really find to be a fun. Yet there are a couple episodes I'm like,
There's
but
another great Gordon episode in season 3 that there's
Yes.
a lot to talk about for that.
dude, I can't wait to talk about that episode. That can come back around, I believe.
That can, yes.
Oh, I can't wait.
I can't. We're gonna talk about that next week for sure. I'm looking forward to it because there's a lot. But I will say this: there's another thing that really bothers me about the Orville, and this is just a personal thing, and that has to do with the fact that, like, I feel like the music is a little too epic sometimes, and it's like a constant thing, especially when you're binge watching it, and it's constantly like these epic fucking like, what's it called, trumpets, like just blaring, and you're like, at every time they're like, okay, we're gonna go to the planet, it's like, and you're like, okay, like it's season 3 now, they're going into, it's like, it's fine, like we get it. I don't know, like I feel like the music needs to calm the frig down a little bit, but that's just me. That's a personal.
Wasn't Star Trek's soundtracks very orchestra driven, and weren't they?
Yeah, but it wasn't
It was
this
Alexander
orchestra.
Courage, and it would have its points at the beginning and end of each act, but
Yes.
only when there is something truly dramatic would they actually do
Okay.
an actual huge
A lot of other things are like pan flutes.
Kind
Very
of, or like
subtle
very,
stuff.
very subtle stuff. Whereas
Okay.
this is always like, oh, we're going into another atmosphere.
Yeah, like the epic,
All
the epic
right.
soundtrack for like entering an atmosphere or approaching a planet. Whereas in traditional Star Trek, the planet would be fine, it'd be mysterious, and then the twist of what this planet actually is, that would have the music cue, because that's where you're supposed to realize, oh, this is
Yeah.
not what was expected.
Right.
Right. I don't know. I feel like they just need to take a beat. Maybe they will in season 3, but the season 1 and 2, I was just like, okay, like, oh my god. Binary Bart, thank you so much for the 10, says season 1 episode 7, which was the upvote downvote society. I love that episode. And season 2 episode 11, where Gordon falls in love with the hologram of the girl from the phone. Those are my favorites. I really like, well, that's Scott's favorite
Yeah.
episode.
Yep, definitely up there.
But man, season 1 episode 7 was fantastic because that, I feel like, was way too close to home. Like I was like,
Doesn't
this is-
China have that now or something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
social
Yeah,
credit
consequences,
scores.
But they
Yep.
don't have any statues for you to hump, so I guess you're
Yeah,
okay.
not yet.
Yeah. Well, it could be Mao.
Although script doctor, if you say that G looks like Winnie the Pooh, you
Yeah.
might end up like one of those.
Yeah.
people. Just-
I thought that I agree completely with Bard. Season 2 episode 11 is my favorite episode because I really do think Scott Grimes is underrated talent. And season 1 episode 7 I think is like my second or third favorite one because I just, again, that idea that if something is seen like social media and you're like, oh my God, what a loser, but you don't know the story, I'm destroying this person's life. Well, you're literally canceling this person. Like it was all about cancel culture and it was a powerful episode.
that was
Yeah.
really
And the
powerful.
apology tour.
Yes. The
And
apology tour and all that shit. Oh, it was perfect.
I thought the comedy on that was on point.
Spot
Like,
on.
It was so good because because in a way it's like a clown world, right? Like you're like, this is like, it's funny because that's kind of like what's going on with our world.
Mhm.
But it's also like terrifying because you're like, wow, this is really how these people deal with like law and stuff like that. Is that what's going to become of our world? And that's what sci-fi is supposed to do. Sci-fi is supposed to make you think about what you're doing now and like the ramifications of that in the future. And I think that episode really nailed it.
I mean, it kind of
Take a
is
good idea and a bad
indirectly.
idea and run it to its full eventual course. I mean, the one of the things that's kind of fascinating is that the Black Mirror and that episode of The Orville were being written and shot at the same time, and neither party knew about it.
Oh, I didn't even
Wow.
know about because I've never watched Black
Because,
Mirror.
well, when that episode aired, I think the Black Mirror episode aired their version of that maybe a week or two before, and it was just the way it's on the schedule. But it just goes into the kind of like the headspace of Hollywood, especially in the industry, where sometimes two different parties completely unrelated with zero connection can land on the same fundamental idea. It just happens.
Yeah.
It's so freaky because you have so many people that live in that space. They get the same input of information. So just like with a computer, sometimes you can get the same output when you have the same input.
Jane, what
process
were
there.
you gonna say?
No, I was just going to say, I think that, in a way, it kind of reflects what we're doing today and maybe the extreme result of it.
Yes.
Because now we have politicians who promise all sorts of things, particularly in the way of laws, new laws, or changing laws, and they
Mhm.
get upvoted or downvoted
Yes.
based on the mass popularity of these things that people don't even understand the consequences of. So,
Hmm.
yeah,
And
we're close to that.
Sliders did a similar episode
Oh,
to
I
this
love
as
Sliders.
well.
It
They-
did.
yeah, that was a great Sliders episode, and they did it way before everybody else. I think that was a great episode.
Crazy to think about.
This was fucking awesome. By the way, this is to the point that Script Doctor was making, and also I hate AI.
Computers don't make errors. What they do on purpose. By now, your name and particulars have been fed into every laptop, desktop, mainframe, and supermarket scanner that collectively make up the global information conspiracy, otherwise known as the Beast.
Everything about that was true except for mainframe. Mainframe computers aren't connected to the internet.
I know. I love Dale.
Dale's
that was,
awesome.
That was such a good episode too. Okay. One last thing. Let's talk about kind of like the end of season 2 because we're gonna wind down the show soon. And I just want to say, okay, let's talk about like what did you guys think of the last 2 episodes of season 2? Because I had a problem. I definitely had a problem with some of it. So, Script Doctor, what did you think of the last 2 episodes of season 2?
So the one with past Kelly coming into the future.
Mhm.
Tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like that.
It was a cool concept. Interesting with regards to like the time travel
Mhm.
stuff and how they came to the conclusion that they succeeded because I have no memory of this.
Yeah.
It's a linear timeline. But I also like the fact that as a younger 7-year younger Kelly has you see how much she's changed over 7 years. You see the fact that she really liked Ed, and when she finds out that her older self kind of betrayed that, she's really aghast, like she just doesn't get it
Mhm.
because she doesn't have all the information. And then at the same time, Ed, who feels like he's getting a second chance with younger Kelly,
Mhm.
realizes he doesn't like the party, the club scene, or any of
Oh,
that.
that was
that was funny.
And then we
That
get
was
to
funny.
see Fortis and Clyden dance, which was
That was a funny
hysterical.
moment.
That was also a funny moment, even
Yep.
though I hate fucking Clyden.
Yeah.
But yeah, yes to all of what you're saying. I mean, I really like that episode in a way that, I imagine meeting myself like 7 years ago, and I would think like, I would have a lot to say to myself, but also like, holy shit, I don't know, it would be so trippy to meet your 7 years old. It doesn't seem like that long, but you grow so much in
That's
7
what I love
years, and
about it.
so
Well,
many
the body
things
apparently
change.
changes into a different, like the way the cell division works. Every 7 years, your body has pretty
Yes.
much newer cells than you did prior.
You're pretty much a
So
different person.
From 7, 14, 21, 35, you're technically a different person each time on the cellular level, which is fun. It's interesting that they went that way. I know if I were to see a 7-year younger version of myself, I'd be like, I don't know, dude. Just keep doing what you're doing. It's like I got nothing. I
Yeah.
have no additional
Mhm.
wisdom at this point, other than watch out for what goes on social media. I guess.
Yeah. I
Um,
gotta say, tomorrow, they should have locked her in a freaking room and never let her out.
Is that what you would have done? Oh my god.
Yes, because look what happened. Like, I thought that was a great ending of a episode where you think it's just going to be, okay, I'm back. Let's go with that life. And she's like, hell no. And it changes the history of the universe. I think that was such a great idea on their part. And I find it interesting that they would okay, I can't go into it. We'll talk about that next week. Remind me to talk about this
God
because
damn it, Scott.
Well, you have somebody who is part of your ship who has time traveled and you're allowing them to just become a normal person on your ship, which is affecting the future.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not affecting the past, but it is affecting the future. So to me, that's breaking one
They
of their
didn't
major
they
rules.
didn't know enough. They didn't know enough, and they were doing some weird shit.
Doesn't matter.
Like it was like, like knowing that you somehow transported someone from the past and then you end up being like, yeah, I'm gonna get together with her anyway. Like, I don't know what this
was
is
being
gonna
selfish.
do. Yeah, he was being super selfish, and it's like those kind of things were really dumb about it. Like in that sense, like I was like,
But it's
"Oh,
also
like,
what people would do. Like, it wasn't far-fetched.
Wouldn't
think
you
so.
think more about what if I'm gonna affect the timeline? Like that would be pretty fucking crazy. Like I don't know if I would act selfishly in that
I think
sense.
with knowing how in absolute love he is with her,
Mhm.
I think he would definitely try it. No question.
I mean, he did a drive-by with the shuttle pod, which was pretty funny.
I can't wait
That
till
was
we talk. I
hilarious.
can't wait till we
That was
talk
hilarious.
next week. Please remember to talk about tomorrow. I'm going to write it down because that's
Please,
a big thing.
yeah,
I
write
have.
it down. And
Pisses me off,
we're
actually.
gonna go back because 16-bit mascot brought up a good point because we didn't really talk about the Mocklin Society of females. So I'm gonna bring that up. But just going back to this for a minute, just to finish our thoughts on this, like the last two episodes. This was just really weird to me because there was a couple of choices that were made that I was like, it was like the other episode that we just talked about with the shuttle situation. But like, for example, in the second episode, which is the last episode, in part 2, they were like stranded in the ship. Well, not stranded. They were like in the ship, and the fucking Kalons are like chasing them, and they're like, "Let's go into this black hole thing." And like, what was it? What
The
was
Event
like
Horizon.
the
Yeah.
Event Horizon? And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me right now?" Like, they. Go ahead, Jane.
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, because they go in the Event Horizon, and I thought that was really dumb because, first of all, why wouldn't the Kalon be able to, like, why wouldn't their sensors penetrate that or be able to come in there themselves? Like, why would they stay away from that if you could just so easily go and, like, just, hide there and not get crushed by the gravity or whatever, right? Like, it's like, there was just so much with it that I was like, I don't understand why this
It was theoretical. It was theoretical that they would survive so that the Kalon would think, okay, there is a high probability that they're going to die. And because time is moving so much slower there, they couldn't, they waited for probably weeks. Wasn't it weeks?
About a week.
Yeah, about a week, and they never came out. So to them, they probably thought they got sucked up by the black hole.
Yeah, but why would you have enough? I don't know. It was way too theoretical for it to have been, like, work that smoothly. Like,
Right, there should have been some more chaos, but it was a gamble. Yeah.
And I don't know. I just didn't dig that part. I was like, what? And then the other part I didn't dig was when they're like, okay, let's go like to the bottom of the ocean and get the Orville. And then they're like going in the fucking shuttle again. By the way, this is the Event Horizon scene. I was like, what? But then they're going in the stupid shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
They go down into the freaking ocean, but it's like the turbulence or like the water pressure is getting to the shuttle, and I'm like, you have a shield. Like, the shield would be the one that's being penetrated by the water. Even
it wouldn't put force then onto.
No,
Well, the shield would be losing power as they descended.
Yeah.
And that would be of a concern, but it shouldn't be, unless they're being hit by an object that causes them to move, like a great impact, like how when you're on Star Trek and your shields are up and you're hit by like a big explosion that rocks the ship, everybody rocks inside because the inertia dampeners aren't compensating for that. That's much different because this is basically you're displacing water, and the deeper you go, the more water, more volume is on top of you,
Right.
and it's crushing you. So the shields should be fluctuating, but that shouldn't cause any rupture to the actual sturdiness of the ship until those shields
Right.
go out.
Okay, so would the
Exactly.
shields give out before? I just assumed that the
They
shields were
could.
almost like compacting.
They didn't
and
even
getting-
have the shield. Like they barely even
didn't
talked about
address
the
it.
shield. They didn't address it at all. And I was like, this is so stupid.
Oh, see,
Like,
in my head, I thought, okay, the air that is surrounded by the shield is being pushed a little bit, and that is causing the force of that. Wow, I thought way too much into this. I guess.
the thing is that they made it so that it's like a space shuttles, basically like the same kind of technology
sub.
as a submarine, which I find ridiculous personally, because I'm like, if you're having,
Fun
you know, if
fact.
Hmm?
Fun fact: most of the people that have been to the moon and Mars and live off planet right now describe their ships as space submarines.
Well, they are, but the
Well-
other part too is like a submarine is sturdy enough to withstand extreme depths.
exactly
Not that far.
Well, no, not. I mean, obviously in the 21st century side, the extreme depths are pretty limited to, I think, what 600 feet is standard.
Yeah. Three to four, and then you have some that will go down even farther to 1,000.
Yeah, but those are like larger vessels.
Yes. The Seawolf is, I think, the best for America. Is the one that dives the farthest, and
the Seawolves are still.
there are a few.
Okay, because those were in the
What?
early to mid '90s. They were launched, right?
Yes, there's still a few, and they didn't make as many as they wanted to.
They thought they
Long
were
story.
gonna
We'll
take
talk
over
about it
the-
some other time.
Sorry, yeah.
I'm a historian when it comes to the Navy.
that's good. What? All right.
But it would be a very smart idea if on space travel we did build spaceships as if they felt were able to experience extreme pressure because we
Right.
did not know what we're experiencing out there.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but valid point, guys. Thank you for pointing
I-
that out because
That's
I did
just
not.
like really basic
didn't think
stuff.
about that.
But that's just really like that's like super nerdy stuff. Like not everyone's
Yes.
gonna think stuff like
But I
that.
love
That's
that.
like if you're into Star Trek, you're gonna think of
Yeah,
stuff
right.
like that. You're like, okay, like I didn't like that, but I mean, it was fine. Like it wasn't like a big deal or anything. Jerk off Juggernaut, thank you so much for the $5. Says Nina, the panel, have you ever seen Black Sails? Any thoughts? I just rewatched it again and it still holds up. I miss a good pirate stuff. I've never seen it, but Jane's told me that it's fucking
I
amazing.
absolutely love
I'm gonna have to watch it.
that show. I
I-
highly
it's been on my
recommend
list.
it.
Yeah,
to
same here.
any and all.
that's the Treasure Island prequel, right?
Yes.
Mhm. It's been on my list since Jane told me it's amazing. I just haven't had time to watch it, but one day I will, and then we'll probably do a review on it when I watch it. So thanks for that. And then going back to this comment here with 16-bit mascot. To be fair, in the female revolution story, the leader of the female group is pretty heavily scolded and isn't portrayed as making the best decisions, etc. So okay, let's go back.
Isn't that season 3?
No, I
Oh.
think that's season 2 when they find the
The Underground Railroad for
Yes.
the women
for the
mock-
females. Yeah,
That,
for the
that was
female
great with the
mock
Dolly Parton music. That was funny.
I love that. That was great. Shout out to Dolly Parton.
Oh, so
fun.
that was season 2. Okay.
Yeah. So what did you guys think of that whole storyline of the of the Lady Mocklins, the Lady Mocklin Society?
I liked the fact that it showcased or revealed that there's probably a closer percentage in regards to male to female ratio than ever expected, and that we're dealing with a culture that is essentially genociding
Yes.
half their species, which I think is just it opens up a lot of discussion,
Yes.
and I love the fact that there is this I think the episode is called Sanctuary, right?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
it's called
you're right.
Sanctuary. Mhm.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that there is this sanctuary, and I also like the fact that even the women on that planet are kind of warrior-like to a
Yep.
degree. Yeah, I dug it. I thought it was pretty cool. I also appreciated the. I think this is the first introduction to like seeing like the Union Council and all those other species kind of
Yep.
congregating a little bit to discuss the merits of things. And I think what's really telling is how there's clearly this fear in all of them, the Mocklins, aside from Bortus, that this place exists.
Right. I love the growth of Bortus, like how you for me watching the series as it goes on, you expect him not to take the views he does, because you expect him to be this masculine but like machismo like man, but yet he's very sensitive. He's very he really
He's
thinks
nurturing
about
and confident.
Yeah, it's
He is
very
basically he's an alpha male in
Yes.
the sense of regards of like, this is the standard, these are the influential type of male characters we have.
Yeah.
And yet he comes from a planet where he's surrounded by betas, insecure people. That just don't have
Absolutely,
any-
man.
I mean, and that's the
True.
brilliance irony of it, is like you have his actions dictate that he is incredibly comfortable with who he is, what he does, how he behaves, what his moral standing is. And the other Mocklins we experience around him are not like that at all. They're very insecure. Like even the episode with the Mocklin engineer that likes the security officer.
Right.
He's ashamed that he's attracted to women.
Yep.
And there's doubts, and he goes so far as to literally fake his own death,
Yep.
so he won't bring shame to his family. And then
That was
the
cool
other
episode.
part, which was you have these two other Mocklins who are pretty much on the same perspective of Bortus, and they're trying to smuggle their daughter to this place where she can actually live a life as herself. Now, the one thing that I thought was kind of a missed opportunity is that there weren't other male Mocklins on that planet, because clearly there has
Yeah.
to be in order for this to be set
Yes.
up.
Yeah, you're right.
Agreed.
Also,
Uh,
I'm sorry.
There should have been like a more of a partnership between the two, because that would really rock the boat of the Mocklin society.
I thought it was what was also a missed opportunity was the idea of because like you kind of know that that he was thinking about his relationship with Clyden and how they could have easily done this had Clyden
Yep.
not been such an a-hole.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like I think that they could have explored that a little bit more in his character of like realizing like, hey, I could have a partner that could be more open-minded, like like that not everybody's like this, and like kind of like I thought that was a little bit of a missed opportunity too.
Right.
What were you gonna say, Scott?
What I was going to say is I also like in this episode the idea of the bureaucracy of these women are on the verge of being wiped out by a union planet membership, and they can't do anything about it because they fear losing their weapons. And it's like, I love that in this show they show that yes, we have this utopia, but it really isn't a utopia, and that
In
even
some
though we
aspects, the Union puts all their eggs in one basket regarding
Right.
a certain issue, and it's like
Yes.
that's not how this is supposed to work.
and in our ideals, sometimes we just have to put our ideals to the side because it's for the good of the Union. And I found that to be really interesting that they're willing to do that, because the Star Trek I have watched, they never go that far, like to show that it's not perfect. It's not perfect.
I actually really love that scene, Scott, that you were just talking about, because that's one of the scenes that really made me like Ed was
Yes.
was that scene when he's like talking to the guys, and he says to them like, then what are we like, what is the Union standing for then? Like if we forget those ideals that we are
to appease this one culture because they
Right.
build us weapons. Who are we? Are our ideals? That's a lot of ours. Really worth anything? Really
Our-
worth
our
defending
great
or
movie.
standing by? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what's even the point? And that like that's the kind of stuff I ask myself like daily on again, and that's why this is a good science fiction show, because it makes you reflect on that kind of aspect and what's going on in in our daily world, and what's going on with NATO or the UN, or like what exceptions do we make, and then when do you draw the line? And there's just certain things that really like parallel what's going on in our world. And again, I think that Seth did a marvelous job with some of this stuff.
Yes.
And for him being the lefty guy that he is,
Very lefty.
extremely lefty,
Yes.
I thought he dealt with this kind of stuff in a really cool way in the first 2 seasons. Again, I haven't seen the 3rd season yet. I'm not.
I can't wait to
First episode
talk
was a
about
great
it with
start,
you.
But I think that in the first 2 seasons, he really handled this kind of stuff like very interestingly. Anyway, I think that like I mean it's like the way that the Southern people say it. I don't know if Jane's still here because she said she had to be right back, but it's like it's bless his heart Bless his heart, because we need more leftists like him. Like
Yes.
as long as like you're willing to kind of like reflect within and have a conversation and say, hey, some other societies maybe don't believe in this, you know, are they evil? No, because they're just culturally different than you, you know, or like
Yep.
there's just certain things that, you know, don't pan out. And like I love that episode in the first season where, again, it's like going back to the same storyline of like their when they were trying to decide to do the, you know, the
Conversion
snip on
therapy.
the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, you know, the doctor's like all disgusted and she's like, I'm a union doctor. I'm not going to perform an altering surgery on a baby. Like
Yep.
she was like all shocked. And
Yep.
I'm like, wait, what are we doing right now? Like,
Yeah.
in our world?
No,
Like,
I
what?
mean he was kind of ahead of the ball on that, because here's the one thing that's kind of a fundamental truth with regards to like Starfleet and the Union by and large, and that is the ability to have choice over one's life and direction is paramount.
Yes.
Yes.
And you've got basically a situation where that choice is being robbed. Now, I mean, there's also the argument that parents, with regards to their children are technically the property of the parents until they reach a certain age. And so ideally the parents have the best interest of the child. But the fact of the matter is that there's definitely choices that parents can make with regards to their children that the whole of society, who probably suffered as a result of some similar choices, may object to. And that's not an easy thing to navigate for a parent or a society in itself. So that's kind of like those are the ideas that our science fiction allows to really explore and debate. Because if this were a Star Trek episode, Kirk would be the first one to say that the Moclans are in denial of their own reality.
Yes.
Right.
Because the fact that females exist proves that they are not a single-gendered species.
Yep.
And for them to do everything in their power to change that is basically
Genocide.
Well, that kind of shit
is a
gets
form
you
of
kicked
eugenics,
out.
which is
Yeah.
something that we as a species has found a dangerous slope that has led to, you know, the Third World
Well said.
War and Khan and all those things.
Yeah.
Well, that I mean, that kind of shit gets you kicked out of the Federation. Like, let's be
and
real. Like,
that's
it-
it. That's
they,
the
they
difference.
don't really give a shit like whether your weapons can help them or not. Well, maybe they do now in like Discovery Land, but
But that
you know,
shows
they used to
Oh, sorry.
make, you know, quite big stance, like you know, when it came to stuff like this.
No, but the other part too is that, and this is the one thing that I don't know if many people actually really understand this, but our species as a self, just the relationship between men and women, is a form of eugenics. We choose who we sleep with and who we mate with and who we have children with. That is a form of eugenics, but it's not a harmful form. It's
Biological.
not-
It's by choice.
It's intimate between the two parties involved. It is not a larger body governing the behavior
Yes.
of another body. It's not saying
Well
like,
put.
oh, it doesn't matter. Love is not a factor. You have to mate with this person because we believe this genetic outcome is going to be more beneficial to the whole of the species. It's like, well, but that's not how our species has evolved. Like that's not the relationships we have with our partners and with our children. There's something deeper there, and it doesn't come from basically a third party's dictate of what it is. Like that was one of the big topics of the 70s. Like as computers get more advanced, are they going to determine who we basically have children with?
Yeah.
and
Who lives and dies.
and you already have that with your dating apps and your social media.
Oh, they'll decide who lives and dies, Scott. Don't you?
Yeah,
worry
I know.
about
The
that.
algorithm. Goddamn algorithm.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I have to say you touched on earlier was The Boys. And 16-Bet Mascot has been bringing up some great points about it. The Boys, like at first, I said this, and I'm going back on what I said. Because when I first watched like the first episode or two of this last season of The Boys, I'm like, oh yeah, they're doing the same thing. They're picking, they're more left, but they're not scared to make fun of them. And the truth is, they kind of did make fun of them so they can make fun of the right way more. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like in this, he doesn't do that. He doesn't make fun of the left just so he can beat up on the right more. He does try to. Yes, the
understand
Moclans
the perspective. Yeah.
understand the perspective, where the Boys, they just did it so that they can attack the left even more, or the right, excuse
the
me.
Boys too. It's set in sort of like our world, and so
Yes.
it's a bit different.
Yeah,
Here, I think he's in the tradition of science fiction
right.
in creating a story around whatever the message or morality tale he's trying to convey, and that's the difference. And I think that's what's lost on a lot of other people in Hollywood today. you can tell your story and you can convey your message because that's what storytelling is about. But you can't lose the entertainment aspect of it. You can't lose the character development aspect of it. And you certainly can't offend your audience as you do it. And that's something it seems like he's kept in mind. So yeah, I mean, you can identify the things that are leaning heavily left in the show, but you can also still be entertained, and you can, if you choose to, ignore it and just enjoy the story.
Right. Well
See,
put.
the
Yep.
one thing that they're missing of the Mocklin debate is justifying the threat of females. Like they just don't have the foundation for it there, which would be which definitely has potential for if they do get a fourth season. That would be fantastic if they explore like why does this species deny females and why do they think that there's a threat? Is there some sort of
They just say, like, from what I understand, the backstory so far has been that they're inferior. That's all that it's
he
that has
claims
been
that they're
said.
inferior, but it's like there's a parallel you can do to like Vulcan, where there's that before the logic they embraced logic, they were a savage race, and
Yes, they were emotional
and then
and
they
very
split
savage.
off, and then there's the Romulans. It's like, oh, what if there's something like that? And that's what the underlying thing is. Like only the most wisest and eldest really know what it is, but they've supplanted that truth with the concept that females are inferior, when in actuality there's a value and there's a preciousness to them that makes them very dangerous. Or maybe it's a breeding thing where it's like if a male Mocklin mates with a female Mocklin, they actually have like massive litters of children that the species can't sustain, and that's why
that could be something.
They get rid of them. And it's like that is I mean, it's still horrible, but if you can find some sort of interesting antagonistic reason for that culture to have developed that specific way to address it, and you then get more of their perspective, and then you can mine that for a lot more drama.
That
because
would
now
be
it's basically like, oh great, well we don't want to control. We don't want to have you then deal with population control as a great science fiction element. It's like, oh, if a Mocklin male and a Mocklin female mate, they'll have a population boom. That's not going to be good for their species because they'd be spreading like a virus, consuming as many plants as possible to accommodate the massive amount of resources they'll need to live. And we already know that they can eat almost anything.
Oh, that would be interesting, script, because the other thing that they could do, but mind you, they're kind of doing the religious thing with the krill.
Yeah.
But the other thing that they could kind of like do, and that's kind of like, again, a reflection of like, people like in my culture, which is like the idea like in Islam that, because we like in the Islam and in the Quran, they talk about like Adam and Eve. And one of the things that they think though is that women basically fell for the devil's trick, and therefore women are inferior, and the reason that we had the fall was because of women. And so in that sense, like if they do something culturally, like they find out through like their history that like culturally women were a source of something bad that had happened in their culture, like that would also be something that I could would be more justifiable as to why they hate women the way that they do.
Well, it goes back to that planetary civilization. They lost a star, and they didn't have the knowledge of understanding why the star was lost, so that they've decided people born in that time must have been evil. Something might have happened. But I have to bounce, actually. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries, Scott. Thank you so much for being here.
I love being here.
Before you leave, just tell everyone where they can find you.
Sporky News podcast on YouTube. Almost at 2,500. Not 1,000 subs, and I'm really excited about that. It's because of amazing people like you, letting me like meet new people in the chat and stuff, and I really appreciate it.
Everybody sub to Scott's channel. He takes dumps every Saturday.
Mix him with a spork.
Spork! Don't you dare say fork.
Oh my god.
Spork picks up more of it.
Thank you so much, Scott.
All right, guys. I love you. Bye.
Take care. There was one more point I wanted to make about this scene here is Script Doctor, because I thought that they did better in this scene than the original in the first season where they were talking about the court thing. I thought they kind of made that up with this scene here. I thought they did much better than the trial that they did. And I like how many aliens there are in this world. Like that's one of the things I feel like is missing in the new Trek. Is like, where's all the aliens? Like, like where's all the creativeness? Like, I don't know. I think these guys are so creative. There's like, look at just this in just this one image. Like, you got like these guys here, you got these guys here, you got these guys here, you got this person here. That there's so much aliens, just in random aliens and stuff
Yeah,
everywhere.
I think the only
I
thing
like
creative
that.
about Star Trek Discovery is the way they launder money, because you don't see it on the screen, you don't see it in the aliens or the makeup. It's not there, but yet on the Orville you get some great stuff. Like there's a character introduced in season 3 that you're gonna look at and be like, I don't get how it works, but it's interesting as hell.
I mean, I like that kind of stuff because that's what sci-fi is like, right? We don't really know what aliens are going to look like, so they could really look like anything. Like,
Yeah,
I just feel like that's the cool kind of thing. That's why I had no problem with something like what's it called? Yaphet, like just a blob. It's just a fucking blob that just like, goes around. But I think it's funny that they gave him so much to do, and I think it's funny that he's like intelligent enough to be an engineer, and it's because of him that they were able to rescue the Kalon. Why do I want to call him like something else? Isaac.
Mocklins.
They were able
Yeah.
to. He was able to like fix Isaac a bunch of times because he's also an engineer. He's not just some guy that's like, like a little slimy little dude, like a little flubber. Yeah, rest in peace, Norm.
But I think the reason you don't see that is because New Trek is more focused on human problems and modern day issues that they're trying to insert into the story.
I hate
If
that.
they were forced to actually use aliens
Mhm.
as proxies of sorts, then they would have to actually be creative. And
then they'd be like, well, we're kind of marginalizing a minority group.
Oh God.
Because we invented these aliens.
That's so stupid. Yeah, it's like it's so funny because I've been rewatching DS9 recently. And I remember like a lot of people were making fun of Discovery because it had like this crippled dude on it or something. Like I was like, okay, like it's got like a handicapped person in it. But like, DS9 dealt with a cripple ish like episode too. Like there was this episode where, this chick comes on board and she can't really walk because she's got this like the gravity on her planet is different. It's actually very
She can fly
similar
in
to
her
like
planet,
the
yeah. So
it's very
I know
similar to like
exactly
the
what
TL
one.
episode. And the
It's
fly
the
around
reverse of the
episode.
Atala episode. She's
Yeah. It's like
she's incredibly frail in normal gravity, and
yes.
yeah, she also kind of falls for Bashir.
Yes. And they had a wheelchair in that episode, and he like, wheeled her around. And nobody talked about like how, who cares? Like, like wouldn't she just, wouldn't you have like hover fucking what's it called or like whatever? Like, but they had a regular, wheelchair for her and everything like
They
that.
had a more stable one, the non-power dependent chair for her, because she was wearing a bodysuit that was powered.
Yeah.
That was, but the thing with Star Trek Discovery is you had a guy that is using the wheelchair under his own power, no exosuit, just a dude with broken legs
Oh my
or
God.
something wrong with his legs. And the thing about DS9 is that said there's a treatment that they can make her walk in normal gravity, but she'll never
Yes.
be able to survive properly on her home planet ever again. Like that's the trade-off.
Bashir's discovered that because he's awesome.
Yes. And that's the big difference, right? It's the fact that, there's this person that in this environment is not able to attain their full potential with regards to their physicality.
Mm-hmm.
If they want the option to do so, we will make it available for them. Whereas on Discovery, it's like, nope, this is a person that is in a wheelchair for whatever reason. And here's the worst part. It's a fascinating idea, but we're not even given a story about it at all.
God.
It's like, is it some sort of virus? Because there is there's a virus, I think it's like Iverson's disease or something like that. That's in the first season of Star Trek that Admiral Jameson has, and he's confined to a wheelchair, and he takes this rejuvenating drug to walk again.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it's like that's the only reason he's in the chair is because he's got this crippling disease that in the Federation in the 24th century they can't cure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, there's a story around that, and it's like, if you want to bring in an actor who is confined to a wheelchair, don't just make them a freaking circus act in the background. Like, give us a story where we feel for this person and see the struggles, and then see how the Federation is accommodating them and allowing them to, make an impact on the people around them and the jobs they do.
Mhm.
Don't just like throw it in the background like it's a playing card.
Right. It's just like it feels like a virtue signal. Real quick, Jane, what the heck is going on in chat? Are you guys talking about season 3, or is this something that we can be discussing on this panel? Are you talking about the episode 2, or are you guys talking about season 2 with the
Season
Mocklin
3.
women?
Season 3 primarily.
Okay, then no.
Next week.
Next week, Michael Quaid, come back next week. Jerk off Juggernaut for 10 says, do Mocklin women still lay eggs? That's a great question, because I was thinking that too. I wanted to know that, and they didn't explain that. Like the men, or is it in a different process? And the men created the egg breeding process to justify the female extinction. I was thinking the exact same thing when I watched that episode, but I figured
getting a weird
they're gonna...
like seahorse allegory where the male seahorses carry the children and the females seed.
That could also be, but it would have been interesting to go get into. I don't know if they get into it in season 3 or not. By the way, thanks for the other $2 for the spelling error mistake. Thank you so much for that. But I mean, I did think about this though. Did they go into this in season 3 at all about how the women?
No.
Oh, they don't talk about it anymore.
Unfortunately, they do not.
Oh, that sucks. That's like the only time I want to know about the reproductive system of a fucking alien species, apparently, because I usually don't give a shit otherwise. But I mean, it's kind of integral to the story at this point. So it's
I'm
like,
still
especially
disappointed
now,
we didn't get to see the Gelosia properly. Like they cut away before he actually does the great release. So you don't even get to see how ridiculous or crazy that would be.
Oh my god!
I did not want to see that.
I didn't want to see that, Script Doctor.
My morbid curiosity of the sci-fi fans, like I gotta see that. Like if it's like Chekhov's gun, fire it. You know.
I did not want to see that. I was like, gross. I mean, again, I thought that was ridiculous. Like the whole Gelosia thing. I thought it was really fucking weird. The whole like peeing once a year. But then again, he's an alien. Like, okay, like, I'll go with it. Sure. Like why not? That's why sci-fi is so great. Because you can do pretty much anything. But thank you so much for that super chat. I don't like calling you jerk off. Jerk off Juggernaut. Thank you for that. Okay, well, do we want to say, oh wait, jerk off Juggernaut for another 5. Thank you. Says, can the women reproduce with one another? So many questions. I know I have all these questions too. And it's like, apparently we're not going to get any answers in season 3 as well.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Maybe at some point, season 4, if it gets renewed. That's actually something I want to talk to you guys about. So apparently in season 4 has not currently been renewed yet, but Seth came out a few days ago and he made a post about how, all of it's going to be going on Disney Plus and it's going to be available to everybody to watch and everything like that. So I feel like, I don't know, but I feel like they're probably going to get it renewed for season 4 and it's probably going to go on Disney Plus. What do you guys think?
If we do, I don't think we'll see episodes of season 4 for about another 1.5 to 2 years.
I can see that because that's how it
took them a long time to do it. Yeah.
Mind you, they had COVID problems with the other one.
They did, but they had already shot a bit over half before COVID hit. So yeah, I don't know. It just depends on where they all are. I do know some of the actors on that show have already taken other jobs. So
the Orville cast?
Yep, some of the actors on the Orville cast have taken other jobs. I don't know if they're series jobs or if they're film jobs, but they've already started working on something else. So we do know that at least till the end of the year, they're probably not going to be going back to the set unless something changes.
Okay.
So I mean, and the other part too is mostly bankrolled by Seth MacFarlane. Like I think he put down like $30 million of his own money into this show. Because they had to rebuild and move a whole bunch of sets from one studio to the new ones over at Disney's Fox hybrid property that they've got.
That's
so incredible. Yeah, it's all up in the air. So hopefully there's enough popularity to it. If it goes on Disney Plus and it hits a certain higher viewer ratings than say The Mandalorian,
Mhm.
probably get a fourth season. But
He's
it's
pretty
tough.
happy with Disney. He
Yeah,
seems pretty
it's
happy with
tough right
Disney.
now. They're only now starting to get trade articles about their show, and their last episode is this Thursday. So
Yep, and that's why we're doing the season 3 finale. Next week we're gonna be talking about that. But there's Trio saying Disney will ruin the show. But you know what? It's under Disney now. I mean,
yeah, and
technically
here's the other
season
part.
3 is under Disney because it's Hulu. Hulu's owned by Disney.
And here's the other part too. Seth and the Orville team, they're not skimping on content with regards to their episodes for season 3. Like with Mandalorian, you're like thinking, oh, it's a Star Wars thing. There's probably gonna be hour-long episodes, like
Mhm.
26 minutes, 34 minutes, 41 minutes, 28 minutes. Like it's all over the place. With the Orville, especially on season 3, you're guaranteed at least 55 minutes per every episode, which means that you feel like you're getting value out of the money you're spending on the streaming service for it.
Sure, I can get that.
And it's like, oh yeah, I'm buying like a movie ticket to watch an episode, but I'm only paying for it once in the month, and I'm getting 10 episodes that are actually length. I'm not paying $14.99 a month to watch a handful of 30-minute episodes that really should be of a story that's each an hour long. It's
Season
good.
3. I've only seen one episode, but it looked incredible. Like they have a good budget. I did think it was too long, Script Doctor. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, dude, this episode was dragging on. We're gonna go into that next week. Damn it, I have to tell myself next week. But I mean, like, I get what you're saying about the length, but that's not necessarily a good thing if you're going nowhere. Because I was like, oh my God, they need to end it now. but okay, all right. Jane, what are your thoughts about them going on Disney Plus? Do you think they're gonna get a season 4?
Oh gosh. I hope well, part of me hopes they do. The other part of me is concerned, like pretty much everyone else, that Disney will become much more of an influence, and who knows where the story will go from there. But they're doing well so far, so I'm hoping.
Okay.
I'm hoping they do.
I thought they already fully bought Hulu. Duck Nation saying that they will fully buy Hulu in 2024 and everything will switch to Disney Plus. I thought they already owned them, Hulu, for like a
Well,
while.
Hulu's got a joint contract with Disney, but the other part too is that Seth MacFarlane kind of owns the Orville outright. It's his. Fox only had distribution, and that contract was purchased by Disney.
Right.
And the other part too is that Disney's got a different regime than it did 3 years ago. So
That's also
I
true.
think they're going to leave him alone.
Well, I agree with you in the sense of what you said, especially about once they start seeing like the Kenobi numbers, because they'll see the numbers. So like they'll know the actual numbers. If they see Kenobi numbers and if they see, Ms. Marvel and like whatever the hell is going on the Marvel side numbers, and then they see this, if people are actually watching it, I don't see why they wouldn't get a season 4 with good budget. I think that they will. But I guess we'll have to find out. For now, tune in next week for our season 3 review. It's going to be a spoiler one, so make sure everybody you're catching up. Season 3 is going to end this Thursday, I believe. They're going to have their season finale. So with that, how about some final thoughts? Final thoughts on season 1 and 2. Jane, give us some final thoughts.
Yeah. So overall, I think season 1 and 2 are actually really good quality shows. They got back to the basics of entertainment. Sort of like Scott, I kind of prefer those episodes where you're going into different worlds, future, more advanced societies, and looking at the complex ways in which we as a society could evolve and what direction we could head into. I've always loved that about this particular genre. I like the episodic nature of it, kind of more so than The Crew. But yeah, overall, I think it's a really good, fun, entertaining show that you don't have to think about. If you overthink it, you may not enjoy it nearly as much. Just like what we've said before with other shows, you sit here and talk about it and break it down bit by bit, it kind of does start to fall apart here and there.
Yeah,
But overall, it's a good show, and it's better than pretty much anything else out there right now. So
especially when it comes to sci-fi stuff, it's like,
Yeah.
whew, what the hell's going on with sci-fi lately? I really, yeah, well said, Jane. Script Doctor, give us your final thoughts on season 1 and 2.
I think it was a great attempt at trying to recreate and recapture a sci-fi show where humanity kind of gets its bearings in a far better position than where we are now. There's very, very few science fiction stories where humanity kind of has a positive outlook on the future. Especially when I'm in Hollywood and I'm reading scripts and it's all dystopic, futuristic stories, and it's like, yeah, we never get it right, even though
I'm so sick of that shit.
Even though up until I think about 2010, if you were to snatch a person from 1890 and bring them to 2010, they'd be like, this is a miraculous, beautiful place. And then if they hung around for the next 12 years, they'd be like, nope, go send me back. That's something to really kind of relish. And I think Seth Macfarlane and the team he's done is doing a pretty solid job. I hope they get if they do get another season, I hope they get another injection of different writers that can actually explore the concepts a bit more to really hound it out, because we've already gone over them in the past 2.5 hours of like, they missed this opportunity, which is like a very obvious opportunity to address some sort of issues. So I hope it goes there, and I look forward to discussing season 3 with you, because there's a lot of cool stuff in season 3.
Nice. I'm excited to watch season 3. I'm just like, I was a little taken aback with the first episode, but of course
it was not their best foot forward. It really wasn't.
No, it really wasn't. But you know what? We'll talk about it next week. True Kang says, now review The Expanse. We have episodic reviews of the last season. We haven't done the full thing yet, but honestly, I don't see a point, because the last season was such a fucking disappointment that I don't think I'll ever go back to that series. But we did do episodic reviews of season 6, or was it 5? Whatever the fuck the last one was. 6, I think.
Season 6, I think it was.
Yeah.
We did a little coverage of season 5, didn't we?
I think we did like the right before. Yeah, it started. I don't remember. But we did do episodic reviews of season 6. What a letdown. Jane and I reviewed season 5, right, Jane? I think Jane, you and I.
Or did you review season 4? I can't remember.
So
I don't remember.
I can't remember.
I think it was season 5, Jane, because it was Marcos, and I was like, I hate Marcos. Yeah, that was like the start of this channel, when Jane and I started to hang out and just talk about The Expanse. Maria, thank you so much for the super sticker of a popcorn. Thank you for that. So sweet. So sweet. Good to see you, Maria. Okay. My final thoughts is that, just like Script Doctor, I really loved the Orville season 1 and 2, because it took me back to what Star Trek was all about. OG Trek, just really hardline stories, really powerful stories that needed to be told. The juxtaposition with our world, but at the same time, not so much that you get lost in the idea that it's still our world. It's really not. To talk about all these different kinds of alien societies and have backstories for them, and just to get into the nitty gritty. Of course, they have like the robot, and they have the good archetypes. And I think that that's really cool. And like what Script Doctor says, they're doing something that Star Trek was doing, which was showing us the hopeful side of, being spacefaring, being a spacefaring society. And I think that that's something that we're really missing today. That optimistic, why would you make a future show just talk about how bad it is, like how bleak the future is? I think I'm just kind of over that, over that bleak and just dark future that is kind of the way that Discovery is, or, well, that's actually a prequel, which makes absolutely no fucking sense, but
they really botched what they could have done with.
They really botched that.
Oh,
and then there's Picard, which I'm not even watching, because I've seen enough of like the reviews to know that is not something I would be interested in. So I don't know. Just the JJ Trek stuff just doesn't interest me. And Alex Kurtzman Trek interests me even less. So I feel like the Orville has created an extremely needed substitute for me when it comes to sci-fi and cool stories that you could just watch and get away and not think about stupid shit. Like, I don't want to think about the Ukraine every 5 seconds. So I'm glad that this show is out there, and I'm looking forward to watching the next show. Jane, do you got something coming up that you want to promote before we go?
I just want to promote the fact that I now have memberships open on my channel.
Oh,
Yay! And I just
yeah.
dropped my first members only video on the Black
Nice.
Panther problem. So yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. She's got an exclusive video already. So go
Yeah.
and join Jane's channel. It's Jane Theory. She's got a channel. She's amazing. And it's in the description down below. So make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. Also follow her on Twitch and
Yes.
Instagram and Twitter.
At Jane Theory everywhere.
At Jane Theory. So smart. The brand's always the same. And mine's not, because I could not get the same fucking name. So some of them have a 7 in it. It's like a random 7. It's like, all right, whatever. Script Doctor, you got anything you got going on right now you want to promote?
No. Just winding down some things of real work. So hopefully I'll be able to do some videos or an interview in the next little bit. But for the time being, just be sure to follow me on Twitter at ScriptDoctorPhD, and you'll see where I'm at.
There you go. And it's in the description down below. Script Doctor. And as for me, you catch me tomorrow on Toxic Femininity with Lorena and the ladies. And right as we're leaving, some sex spots show up because I don't know why. But thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, you guys who press the super chat button. Massive thank you to you guys. And massive thank you to Low Watermark. And I forget who the other person was. Someone from, it was the animated show. God, the one with the straw. What is that called? The cup. Straw guy. I forget his name.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force?
Yeah. Shake from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. That guy. He also donated memberships. So thank you guys so much for donating memberships. That's a massive help to the channel. So thank you. And find me tomorrow on Midnight's Edge, and then I think Tuesday on The Real BBC. And we out. Anyone want to add anything else? Are we good? Rest in peace, Nichelle Nichols and Bill Russell. I'll leave you this quote from Yoda as our outro today. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.